It's a special Friday because it's a Memorial Day Friday, heading into one of the most important weekends in our country. And I love Memorial Day weekend. It reminds me of, I wrote it down here, burgers, beach, and family. You know, 4th of July, too. It's a great time of the year to get together with family. It's a long vacation weekend. You get Monday off. We're off Monday, by the way. We'll be back Tuesday. I grew up in my backyard of my grandpa's house in Connecticut. We would have such great parties. And one thing I'll always remember is when I was broadcasting in Tampa for 15 years, I had Central Command there. And Central Command, obviously, is the hub of our country's military. And one of the coolest things is I got a chance to go to Central Command, and I got a chance to meet Norman Schwarzkopf. I got a chance to meet Tommy Franks. I got a chance to meet General Petraeus. They were all stationed there. They lived on West Shore Avenue there in Tampa, and they would go to this little diner called the Mayflower. Ted Webb, my radio cohort who was on the news talk station, introduced me. There they are. They're sitting there. Then they take you on campus, and they take you to Central Command, and you get a chance to meet all the great men and women who serve our country. So if you happen to see one this weekend, thank you for their service for our country. That's absolutely one of the greatest times of my life, is having the ability to go. My wife and I think we went to a couple air shows there at MacDill Air Force Base. Again, like I said, it's the hub of the United States military. Every single major decision outside of the White House comes out of MacDill. And head of all military operations is stationed there. You know, I got a chance to broadcast also in San Diego, and another military installation place where the military is prominent. And so, again, I really have, been really rewarded being able to serve and being able to talk in areas like that. And it's really one of the coolest things. So this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, make sure you thank our men and women who serve this great country. And again, the coolest thing about the military, unfortunately, we have politicized it a little bit. You know, men and women who join the military, it's got nothing to do with politics. It's got everything to do with service to our country. So thank you very much. I want to start it out by doing this. Folks, I know you think you won a victory against the NFL with the tush push. I know you think you won that. If you think the NFL commissioner is going to let that die on the vine like that, that guy doesn't take L's. He doesn't take L's. This guy is going to come after that tush push. That thing is not here for long. It's probably got one more year of it before the commissioner is going to try to go after it. Do you know what I would do if I were the Eagles? I would run that play on the opening game against the Dallas Cowboys, September 4th on national TV, and I would run that play, the first play, just to jam it in the commissioner's face and run it down everyone who voted against it, to try to outlaw that thing, just to show you, kiss my ass. That commissioner's not going to take that. He's not going to take that laying down. Chills, 10 of my aunts and uncles served in World War II. Congratulations to you, man. Thank you very much for your service to our country and your family's dedication. I would absolutely run that thing just because I want to remind people this wasn't about, and I said this yesterday, this had nothing to do with the play itself. It had everything to do with the Eagles having the advantage. And it had everything to do with the world champions having that distinction of having that play in their arsenal. Hey, I completely disagree. Okay, how about this? I completely disagree with John McMullen that is a major part of the identity of the Philadelphia Eagles. Can you have a more dominant play? Can you have a more physical play than to line it up? Everyone knows where you're going with it. Okay? And you running people over. Fantastic. It's an identity play. It's an absolute identity play, and it embodies your city, to say the least. I love it. Hit the like button. We appreciate all who come aboard. Everybody we appreciate here on Memorial Day Friday, heading into a great weekend. I grew up on a military base, Fort Lee and Willow Grove. Kyle, awesome. So you're from a military family. Again, your family serving our country. Awesome. Thank you very much, man. Pretty cool. All right. You know, I heard something and then I read it. And I heard Peyton Manning talking about the passing of Jim Irsay. I'm going to tie it into Philly here in a minute. And it reminded me of this, okay? You heard Peyton Manning say this. You know, Indianapolis is not known. They're not known for football. What's Indiana known for? Basketball. Butler Fieldhouse. Hoosiers. The Indiana Hoosiers. I get Notre Dame. But pro football, they were not known for that. And Peyton Manning said something interesting, and I got to give Peyton a lot of love because you know why? The Colts ran Peyton Manning out of town for Andrew Luck. Indianapolis 500, absolutely true. You know, they ran Peyton. Once he got the neck injury, they wanted to suck for Luck. They wanted Andrew Luck, the quarterback from Stanford. And so when Peyton got that neck injury, they escorted him out of town. He lives in Denver. He doesn't live in Indianapolis. He lives in Denver. But you know what he said that was cool? Jim Irsay made pro football fashionable, and he embodied football in our city, and he made football. Indianapolis is a college basketball town, high school basketball. He made it fashionable. And he said he's the face of football in Indianapolis. So I'll ask you, if you had to put in the Jeffrey Lurie era, I don't want to go back 1,000 years to concrete. If you had to say that in the Jeffrey Lurie era, who is the face of Eagle football? You know, we had a cool discussion yesterday about, you know, the Eagles really weren't, from like 1970, a couple of years, I get the Super Bowl in 79, 80. I know you guys played the Raiders. You got beat. You got upset, actually, by a wild card team. And then you had to wait to 04 to go to the Super Bowl with the McNabb, Andy Reid team. And then you win it in 17. But seriously, Super Bowl success has just been recent. Is there one face that you think embodies during the Lurie era that you go, that's the face of football under the Jeffrey Lurie era? Because one thing's for sure, it's the most successful era in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles. Is him owning the team? Is it him? Like Jim Irsay in Indianapolis? Is it Andy Reid? Is it Brandon Graham? Is it Brian Dawkins? Is it Donovan McNabb? Is it Jalen Hurts? Who's the one guy that you would put in there and go, that guy embodies the new wave Eagles? Your era of winning now is unprecedented in your history. It's not unprecedented in the league because the Patriots changed. Hey, for the record, the Patriots stunk prior to Brady and Belichick showing up. It wasn't like that's been a franchise like the Steelers. That's not been the case. And they're back to looking like the Steve Grogan Patriots again. Who would you put? Let me write some names down. Me. And again, I'm 30,000 feet. I'm kind of coming down to about 15 to 5,000 now because I've been covering you for the last 5 years. So I'm going to write some names down. And I see Jason Kelce with Abe. I'm going to put Jason Kelce. I love that topic because Peyton Manning was right. Jim Irsay, God rest his soul, was the face of football. He made it fashionable in that city for pro football to succeed. You could say Peyton Manning, but I think Jim Irsay had a lot to do with how people perceive the Colts now in that city. So I'll put Kelce. Got to put Andy Reid. Reggie White wasn't in the Jeffrey Lurie era. Not T.O. I don't see T.O. McNabb. Okay. Doug. How about Nick Foles? Huh. If there's a guy that embodies your city more than anything, a guy who wasn't supposed to but did, isn't it Foles? Howie? Me personally, I say Dawkins. How many players you remember getting a standing ovation on another team? Okay. I don't. Tom Brady. Okay. Tom Brady. If I had to pick, who would be my guy who embodies the Eagles in the Jeffrey Lurie era, which has been the most successful era in Philadelphia Eagle history? 2 Super Bowls, 4 appearances. It's crazy great. Crazy great. What a tough question. Now, this could be generational too. But again, we're not talking about, Chuck Bednarik anymore. We're talking about now, in the last 25 years. I don't know why a part of me wants to say Nick Foles. Not the best. Get this. Here's why I throw Foles out. Maybe not the best. But you know what? One of the greatest, if not the greatest moment. Would we not say this? That Nick Foles had the greatest moment in the history of Eagle football under Lurie's time and tenure? Would we not say that? Even Jalen Hurts, get this. What MVP were you more impressed with? Foles or Jalen Hurts? Beat 2 GOATs. And by the way, no shade on either. It's 2 great moments, 2 great MVP performances. It's no shade here. There's no shade. Okay? If you had to pick, would you pick Foles or would you pick Hurts' performance as the greatest performance in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles under Jeffrey Lurie? Foles wasn't supposed to be in that game. Foles wasn't even supposed to compete in that game. Foles' performance, in my opinion, because it was unexpected, is the greatest single performance in the history of the Eagles in the Jeffrey Lurie era. And again, no shade on Jalen. His performance was great. He was the MVP. Again, people will look at that performance and say, this guy went back and forth with Tom Brady in one of the most electric Super Bowls of all time. Let's face it, the dominant performance by the Eagles, albeit a dominant performance by the Eagles against Kansas City. I mean, that game was never close. Really, the coin flip was how close that thing was. Once they flipped the coin, the Eagles rolled them. I'm going to say this to you. I don't know if he's the face, but sure had the greatest moment in the history of Jeffrey Lurie's time. And I would say this to you, just like Funky says here, it's truly the greatest story in Eagle history. I mean, what a great moment that will always be. It will always shine. I mean, I don't know if you're ever going to take, because it's your first title. I mean, it's the greatest single moment in Philadelphia Eagle history. Now, the greatest face, I think you got to have the win. As great as Brian Dawkins was, you got to have the win, right? You got to have the win. If you were to pick one player in this whole era that the owner has owned the team, one guy, Fletcher Cox. That Super Bowl reminded me of the Tampa Super Bowl. It's Lane Johnson. Right on. Future Hall of Famer. He's played in what now? 4 Super Bowls? Is it 4? 17, 22, and 3. He's played in 3 Super Bowls. Is that right? And he's won 2 of them. Brandon Graham's not going to the Hall of Fame. Lane Johnson is. I say Lane Johnson has been the face of Jeffrey Lurie football. Personifies everything. Greatness. Arguably the greatest right tackle in the history of the game. You can make the argument. I mean, when you think of pro football and you think of Eagle football, don't you think of Lane when he's not on the field? By the way, look at this. Well, let me tie this in, Brandon. You know, Jim Irsay had a drug issue. And yet people in Indianapolis are talking about him being the most significant name in Indianapolis history. I just think it shows you again. I don't think Lane Johnson was taking steroids or PEDs to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was doing it so he could get back on the field with his football team and win games. I don't give a shit about those PEDs. I don't give a crap about it's twice. I don't care. I don't care. NFL is physical enough. You should use drugs. As much as this dominant Super Bowl was 2017, getting that monkey off our back finally will always be the greatest moment in Eagle history. BG strip sack made him famous. I get goosebumps still to this day. Yeah, Jason, greatest moment, in my opinion, just me covering it, is that Foles game. Maybe the moment is the BG strip sack. The face, for me, the face, when I think of Eagle football in this current run, it's Lane Johnson. Right? Brian Dawkins was probably the greatest player in that era. Maybe not, probably is. But Lane is the face of the, when you think of Philadelphia Eagle football right now, you think of Lane Johnson. Okay? You do. Who's fucking comparing any of that, you dude? I said a flaw. You're the one doing that. What a jackass. Hurts Super Bowl performance was like Rocky 1 and 2. Seriously. Dude, people have flaws in their life. You're the ones that put them in a room. I don't. I don't care what the flaw is. What a jackass. Unbelievable. You compared a guy who was a drug addict to a guy who took PEDs. I did? What a dumbass. As usual. Only a pea brain, flea brain dude like that would make that comparison. Okay? So it's a tough comp, regardless of how the other teams are doing. Eagles are the premier team in the city. I think the Eagles have always been the centerpiece in that city. It was Papali in the 70s, Reggie in the 80s, and now it's Foles beating Brady. I think that's the greatest moment of Eagle history, in my opinion. Okay? I do. I think that's the best that you could put when it comes to signature moments. All right. Hit the like button. As you see, all supers go to the top. Now, let me ask you, next week, we're getting OTAs. This is when you're going to get all the rookies. And you're going to get the veterans all together next Tuesday, I believe, when you have mandatory OTAs. Okay? Sills, it's a tough let's see here. Let's go to Sills. This might be a reach. Does Lane Johnson remind us of Eric Williams? I think he's better than Eric Williams, and I think Eric Williams was a great football player. Okay, I do. But I think Lane's better. Like I said, man, Eric Williams, super player. Trent Williams, Jason Peters, those guys will always be that upper echelon type offensive tackle. I think Eric Williams is great. I just don't think he's up there in the Lane world, so to speak. But, okay, I mean, Eric Williams is a great football player. I think he got into that car accident, and after that, he was really never the same. But there was an era on like 5 years where he was the preeminent dude in pro football. Vic getting that opportunity from Reed. Another great moment during the Jeffrey. Get this, too. That's also Jeffrey Lurie. Let me tell you this. I'll say it again. I'm an animal guy. Okay? I don't like any kind of animal cruelty. I'm an animal guy. Xander's an animal guy. I'm not into that. But I am into forgiving. And that was a pretty big reach here for Jeffrey Lurie to have Michael Vick part of the football team after that whole stuff where he was in Leavenworth. This guy was in Leavenworth. Dude changed his life around and now is a college football coach. People can change if they're willing to get uncomfortable. I love uncomfortable. It's one of my favorite things on the planet. I love uncomfortable because those are usually compelling people and compelling topics. So again, next week is going to be mandatory OTAs. All right. Let me ask you something. Coming up this year, you heard Jordan Mailata this past week. You heard A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts this last week. Talking about installments. They're going through their installations right now on what the football team is going to look like this coming season, especially offensively. 19 million, Nick. How you doing? JD3. That's a great moment. Let me ask you this. In 2025, who do you want the ball in the hands in the critical moments more? And Kevin Patullo in 2025 for this football team to keep evolving. What player, in your opinion, do you think you want the football in their hands in critical times? A.J. Brown and not the quarterback. It's too easy. A.J. Brown or Saquon Barkley? For them to win, who do you believe, in your opinion, not quarterback related, do you want the ball in the hands more this coming season? Hey, by the way, every single year that this offense under Nick Sirianni has gone forward, it's been a completely different football approach. 21 was different, 22 was different, 23 is different, 24 is different. There's no way you shouldn't expect this football team to be different. Here, let me ask this question before we continue to answer this. Well, who's the best player on the team? Non-quarterback related. AJ? Barkley? Offensive skill-wise. AJ Barkley, Smitty, Goddard. Who do you want the ball in the hands more? Again, the defense is going to have its... Dude, remember this. You don't have the same defense. You don't have the number one defensive football team. Anybody who says that is theory. Last year, you were the number one defense in the National Football League. Half those players are gone. 4 starters are off the team, and 2 important players are off the team. It's not the same unit. And you don't have comp replacements. You do not have comp replacements. So that offense is going to have to be more important this year than it was a year ago. Remember, you were one-dimensional. And that wasn't by design. It just evolved that way. It totally evolved. Okay? That's not how this works. You are not the number one defense when you lose 4 starters. That's not how that works. Well, we're still number one until proven. That's not how that works. Every year's different. The freaking coaches and the players said that this past week. You're the only idiot not. Get this. You see these guys? You see these guys saying this? The players don't agree with you. The players don't agree with you. They said it too. Get this. Until proven otherwise, everybody said it's going to be a different football team this year, except guys like this. Again, I get it. They're fans. They're not football players. Embrace is not a ball player. He don't know shit from his ass. Brown, guy can't be touched one-on-one with any DB. It's true. This guy's a nightmare in coverage, and he's a nightmare in the run game. And by the way, Mike, this guy, I mean, I said it before, there's no coincidence that this guy has blocked for Derrick Henry, and he's now blocking for Barkley, and he's putting up enormous numbers. I happen to agree with Xander. You know, you can go back and forth and flip a coin and say Justin Jefferson or A.J. Brown. I'll still hang my hat on Jefferson. But, boy, I'll tell you, the kind of style that I like is that A.J. Brown style. Have to add Dillon and even Shipley, double down. Dude, you're talking about an injured player and an unproven player. You know? You're talking about a player who's been banged up and has a condition that can pop up at any. Remember, Dillon wasn't cut or he wasn't moved on from Green Bay because he stunk. He was moved on because he got injured because of nerve damage in his neck. Pinched nerves are a real deal. And the problem that you get with them is they become chronic. Like, he could have 5 great games in a row. You know how this thing pops up? All of a sudden, he's disabled. That's what happened to him in Green Bay. He wasn't a bad ball player. As a matter of fact, I liked him in Green Bay in that offense with Matt LaFleur. I do. Or did. He can play. Mikey, I did. The dude's training his ass off. And he's expecting a big year. I'll answer the question here in a minute. Seals, I believe you said for the team to keep evolving, it has to be AJ. Must win the game at the line, Barkley. I think it is AJ too. You got to get the ball in the hands of AJ Brown more this coming season. It just can't be Barkley. You're not going to win, and you're not going to repeat as NFC East champs if it's just Barkley. That's not going to happen. Now, the one thing that I will say, you're not playing against predominant run defensive football teams. So until proven otherwise, this is where, hey, get this. This is where that line works, that M. Reyes line. Okay? That offense has got the same personnel. Until proven otherwise, that's still the best O-line, even without Becton. Apologies. Don't mean to throw you off topic, but I'm curious on know your opinion of Saquon saying last year Eagles team was a top 5 team. Write that down here. Top 5 team all time. Kyle, I'll go to that. I'll say A.J. Brown. I want the ball in his hands more. They're expecting Barkley. They're expecting it. Dude, people want to see 800 carries 2 years in a row. I mean, the 2K is not important right now. It's keeping that guy fresh. I mean, hey, Rizzy, don't tell Eagle fans that. They're still on the parade float. The only people that are on the parade float, and they should be in a way, okay, are the fans. Players are off the parade float. Just listen to them talking this last week. They're off the parade float. Becton gave us intimidation, though, and that matters. Yeah, well, I agree. I happen to agree. Okay? I do. Oh, by the way, Xander will join us at 3:30. Mark Farzetta will join us at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. And Merrill Reese will join us at 5:30. So we will talk to those guys. Until then, you guys keep chiming away here. Great topics today, too, by the way. Yeah, I want AJ to be more involved this year. I want it to look a little I don't know what Kevin Patullo has in store this year. Okay? But the ball's got to get into AJ's hands more. Now, again, injuries kind of played a factor in that, and the way the run game was playing. Guys, I promise you when I tell you, these defensive coordinators are going to come up with ways to slow that run game down. You do not win the Super Bowl, or how about this? You do not get to the Super Bowl if Barkley is not dominant week in and week out. Your passing game was never called on. That doesn't mean you were good at it. First 4 weeks, you stunk at it with the turnovers. You were playing turnover football. And they went back to less conventional and more dominant football by running it. Okay? Hit the like button. Appreciate you guys. I'll answer that question that Kyle wrote. He asked, Saquon Barkley says it's one of the top 5 teams in the history of the National Football League. That's kind of a hard comment and kind of a hard topic. Now, all time, the 72 Dolphins. One of those 70 Steelers teams. Now, you got to remember, this is pre-cap. And this is pre-free agency. 1985 Bears. You know, it's funny. When I look at those Patriots teams, do I see a dominant team during that era? A dominant team. They were really good football teams. Were they dominant? AJ better get a bigger bug. Hurts running for 2K off the tush push alone. I like that, JD3. I think I have to put one of the Patriot teams there because, you know, I mean, they did win 6, but I mean, do you remember a super dominant Patriots? I mean, wasn't it Ravens team like in 1999 or 2000 with Jamal Lewis and Ray Lewis and them guys? Wasn't that a more dominant team than any of the, any of the Patriots teams? Right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, Brady was dominant, but were the teams dominant? Like, when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs teams, do you look at them and go like this? Man, those teams are just the greatest teams. I don't. I agree with Greg. Probably the 92 Dallas Cowboys. I'm not going to put a Patriots team in that top 5 for me. I never saw a team where I went, man, that team just killed teams. And then you have 2024 Philadelphia Eagles /25. That's right, Arthur. Probably the most dominant team was the 17-0 Pats team. They got beaten in the Super Bowl by the Giants. That was probably the more dominant team. So when Barkley says the 99 Rams team was great, okay, the reason why I picked the Dolphins, number 1 all time, they went to 3 Super Bowls. One of those teams was unbeaten. It wasn't just a one-year wonder. Those Steeler teams went to 4 and 6. Now, if you did your right drafting, you weren't having players leave because of free agency. You didn't have to worry about salary caps. You didn't have to worry about free agency. So if you drafted well, you stockpiled talent. Do I think it was easier to build a championship team back in the 70s, 80s, and even in the early 90s? I do. Because if you had great personnel people, you got to keep those guys around. So that leads me to your football team. I would probably say this. Of all the teams in the salary cap era, what year did hey Bob, what year did the salary cap era begin? Let me Google this. NFL salary cap era. Officially. 94. Since 1994 is when the cap era began. Okay? That's when teams started talking about the salary cap. So let's take a look at Super Bowl teams since 1994. And I'll give you a better historical opinion on what Barkley said. Is your team the greatest team and one of the top 5 teams of all time? So let's go from 94 until today. Man, those Cowboy teams, that 94 Cowboy team did have to deal, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's Jimmy's last year. And that's when the salary cap began. So that 94 Dallas Cowboy team has to be on that list. That was a great football team that won the Super Bowl, or the 93 team. So you'd have to go the 95 one because that's the cap. 95 Cowboys. For sure. Larry Allen, all them dudes. Packer teams, the Bronco teams with Terrell Davison and Elway, that 2000 Rams team, 2000 Rams, that 2001 Ravens team, that was a great football team. Wow. That Bucs defensive team, I never thought they were great offensively with Brad Johnson when they beat the Raiders. That Patriots team, the 05 Patriots that beat the Eagles were awful good. That was a really good. I'm going to put that to the side. 2004 Pats team, that you had to be great to beat that Eagle team. I don't think the Giants teams that won. I do not think the Steeler team, the Packer team, the Giant teams. I don't even think that 2012 Ravens team was great. Seahawks were good. That Patriots 14 team and the 16 team and the 18 team were great, but not like this. The Chiefs, that first one in 19, I don't think that Bucs team with Brady, even though they beat the doorknobs off the Chiefs, they were 8-5 after one point. If you remember right during that season, they were 8-5. So then the Eagles right here, I don't think Kansas City's 2014. So I wrote these down. 2004 Patriots, 95 Cowboys, 2000 Ravens, 2000 Rams, and the 2001 Ravens. Where do the Eagles fit into that? Quarterbacks, Aikman, Warner. 2001 was for the Ravens. I believe 2001, that was Dilfer. Brady. Saquon Barkley says he's got the greatest football team since the cap, or top 5 all time. It's not top 5 all time. That conversation can't. You're not better than the Miami Dolphin teams that went to 3 straight. You're out of your tree. You go to 3 straight and you win and you're undefeated, then we're talking about a different conversation. Now, if you want to put the asterisk on it saying, how about they're in the cap? Now we have a different conversation. It's a different conversation. Again, football's different today. You can't stockpile talent like you look at what you guys have just gone through in this offseason alone. The teams in the past could keep all those players and not worry about it and keep salaries down. You didn't have to worry about it. You know, you didn't have to worry about whether you had to pay a guy. You paid him and he liked it. The league is different. Now, in the cap era, the Dallas Cowboys 1995 team's the best team that's been in the cap. There's no getting around that. There's just no getting around it. Quarterback, running back, and receiver are all Pro Football Hall of Famers. There's 2 dudes in the O-line that are Hall of Famers. And one of the guys is the all-time leading rusher. As great as you think Saquon Barkley is, Emmitt Smith is the greatest back of all time. You know, you guys make it sound like Emmitt Smith parachuted into some sort of great environment. When Emmitt Smith got to the Dallas Cowboys were 1-15. They were 1-15. He changed the entire landscape. I mean, counting the playoffs, he's over 20,000 rushing yards. And changed the dynamic in Dallas himself. He made O-linemen that were okay sensational. This guy rushed for 20 grand. There's nobody. Hey, look, you could say that there's been a more talented kid and a more talented running back, but Emmett's got the numbers and the titles. So to go to Sue, where it's this not stats, he's got 3 championships and an MVP. That's who Emmitt Smith is. And you could say, oh, you want, well, this guy's better. This guy's this. Get this. This guy's going to try to debate a guy showing up to a 1-15 football team, and then 2 years later, he's got 3 Super Bowl rings and an MVP on his hand. He's the all-time leading rusher. And you're going to try to tell me Barkley's better. Yeah, okay, guy. Sure. He showed up to a shit team. Shit team he showed up to. Yeah, at least know what you're talking about, dude, when you're talking. Let's just have shit coming out your mouth. Let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at that Cowboy team. Deion Sanders was on that team. I mean, they added Sanders to that team. The greatest cover corner of all time. Shit, they lost Stebnoski off that team, and they lost Washington off that team, and they still dominated. What a great football team. Plus you had, I mean, look at the dominance they had. 1, 2, 3. They lost 4 games that year. They destroyed the Giants. They scored 66 points in the first 2 games. And let me see here. They did lose to Philly that year at Veterans Stadium. And when they got in the Super Bowl, they just rolled everybody. They killed the Eagles in the playoffs in the divisional round, 30-11. They beat the Packers 38-27, and they beat the Steelers in the Super Bowl. I mean, look at this. Aikman, Hall of Famer. Emmett, Hall of Famer. Irvin, Hall of Famer. Allen, Hall of Famer. There's Eric Williams. You talk. Deion Sanders, Hall of Famer. The head coach, Hall of Famer. Ray Donaldson, Hall of Famer. Just a litany. So I would put that 95 Cowboys team number 1. That Rams team, I don't think they were as good as you guys were on defense. They were way better than you offensively. Way better. I mean, the year that they won the Super Bowl with Kurt Warner, I think Marshall Faulk had 1,000 yards rushing, led the league in rushing. And Charles Haley, thank you very much, Kyle. I think they, if I'm not mistaken, I think that the year they won the Super Bowl, I think Marshall Faulk had like 1,800 yards. I think he had like 1,000 yards receiving. Okay, I mean, right? So I would probably that offense was insane, and it is a different game, absolutely. But we're talking salary cap teams, and Warner was a prolific passer. Hurts isn't, and they had a prolific running game, and they had Orlando Pace, arguably one of the top 3 linemen in the history of the sport. So I still think you're better defensively, though. See, the Cowboys are great on both sides of the ball. Get this. Well, I'm going the only thing. Well, get this. Hey, Forrest, if Saquon wants to talk about being the greatest football team and one of the top 5 teams of all time, let's put some context to it. I put the 95 Cowboys 1. Dilfer's kind of compare. Now, is Hurts better than Dilfer? Different style, different guy. Trent didn't have to do shit the year they won the Super Bowl. I think Lewis had $2,000. I think he had 2,000 yards that year. Let me take a look at that. Go back to that 2001. That Ravens team. If he had like 2K. I thought Jamal Lewis had 2,000 yards rushing that season. The year they won the Super Bowl. He's a great football player. Had a great career. I think he got derailed at the very end. Now, 2003, he had it. He had 1327. Or he had 1364. So the year he had $2,000 was 2003. So that wasn't the year he had 2K. Okay, so I think the Eagles are better than that 2001 Ravens team. You know, if you hear Shannon Sharp will try to tell you he thinks that 2001 team is better than any team that's ever played. And I'm like, I don't think so because I don't think the quarterback is all that hot. The 92 Cowboys was better than the 95 Cowboys. Yeah, but we're doing salary cap, Philly. And the salary cap started in 94. Okay? Well, let's take a look at this. Let's see what Trent did in the 2000 season. Let's take a look at it. Well, Jalen Hurts wasn't asked to do shit this year or past season, and nor was Trent Dilfer asked to do shit. Let's see here. He had a better moment, obviously, in the Super Bowl than what Trent did. Here, let's see. Let's see if we can make any comparisons here. 2000. Trent threw, no way. Not even comparable. Jalen Hurts is way better. Absolutely. I think there was even a different quarterback. They made a move. So, yeah, no way. Way better is Jalen. I think they're better than that Rams team and better than that Ravens team. Patriots, I would say this, that the 2024 Philadelphia Eagles are probably the second greatest team in the salary cap era. That would be a true statement. So his comment was more this, wasn't it? Didn't he say they were top 5 all time? Top 5 all time? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But top 5 in a salary cap era, you could make the argument that they are, without a doubt, top 2. You could debate the 95 Cowboys or the 2024 Eagles. I wouldn't have a problem with that. Okay? I wouldn't have a problem. Now, Barkley's no Emmett, but okay, you see the video of Barkley off the glass, alley-oop. He is I'll tell you, let me say this to you, Prince. This is where I'll go. I think Barkley's a better athlete than Emmett. I think he's a better athlete. I mean, the hurdling in the game this year, he's one of the greatest athletes I've ever seen. Okay? I don't have a beef with anybody. How would I have a beef with? You sound like people that watch the news and have a beef with Trump or Biden or whatever. I don't have a beef with anybody. How the fuck would I have a beef with somebody that I don't know? Stupid comment. A beef. Yeah. Unlike lowbrow thinking human beings that have like opinions on people they've never met. Classic. What's your beef? I don't have a beef with anybody. Style of play. Okay? That's right. It's all skill stuff. Beef with anybody. Beef. That makes it sound like I sit around and have a conversation with Jalen Hurts, and I don't have a beef with anybody. Beef. Yeah. But you beef with him. Get this. See this right here? This is a bozo take. That's a bozo take. So let me show you something here. This guy says that Emmitt Smith wasn't even the best back in his era. How many minus yardage plays did you ever see Barry Sanders have? Ton of them. How many minus play yardage did you ever see Emmitt Smith have? None. Like none. Here, this is who he says was not the best player in his era. He said that Emmitt Smith is not the best running back in his era. And he thinks that Barry was better. Okay, fine. Barry didn't win dick. So we just go here. 1563, 1713, 1486, 1484, 1773, 1204, 1304, 1497, 1203, 1103, 1058 for 18,358 rushing yards, which is all time. And on top of that, he has the all-time carries. And to top it off, he's got 3 Super Bowl rings. What are you talking about? And correct me if I'm wrong. What were the Cowboys before Emmitt showed up? What were they? They were a 1-15 team. The same O-line that you called the greatest, or some called the greatest, those guys weren't drafted by Jimmy. They were there with Landry. Okay, get this. What up, Sills? Happy Friday. Working some OT and turning into my favorite Philly sports talk show. Have a blessed weekend, brother. JAKIB YouTube, boss. Get this. Barry was a better player. Emmitt had a better O-line. That's a fucking terrible take. Excuse me. Mark Tune, Crawford Kerr, the center, Nate, and Kevin Gogan were all there prior to Emmitt getting there. And they won 4 ball games. What happened to that great O-line? At least in Philly, when you have a great O-line, Miles Sanders had 1,400 yards almost. DeAndre Swift had a career year. Where were those other guys? Those guys weren't great ball players when Tom Landry had them. He drafted them, and he signed free agents. How good could they have been? How good could they have been when they didn't produce anything? They were there 3-4 years before Emmitt got there. How in the world are you going to say that that was the greatest O-line when it was Emmitt who made them better? Get this. Any poll will say, well, I'll tell you what I always like about this. And I'll tell you what, polls can hurt sometimes, Shakir, especially when you got 3 Super Bowl rings and you make other players around you better. It's a stupid comment. Barry Sanders was more, he was like Michael Vick of running backs. He was fun to watch. He wasn't a better ball player. How could he be a better ball player? Every guy that Emmitt played with was there before he got there, and they stunk. They were 1-15, and before that, they won 5 games. Hey, get this. That's all opinion. One guy's got 18,000 yards and 3 Super Bowls. And we're going to do your stuff. You may, so wait a minute. Oh, this is great. See Crowley? That's why Josh Allen's better. Josh Allen's better than anything Hurts will ever be, right? Allen's a better quarterback. Right? He's better. He don't have Super Bowl rings either. Right? Wait. Cowboys beat the Lions? Wait a minute. Cowboys beat the Lions? How could Barry be better? Who's got the ring? Emmett? I didn't remember Jalen Hurts playing corner. I don't remember that. Oh, and by the way, you are underdogs. Right out of the gates with Vegas. Buffalo's favored to beat you. How you doing? In Buffalo. 1.5, baby. Go, Joshy boy, go. How you doing? Yes, sir. What was the number here? Here it is. I wrote it down. The Eagles aren't in favorite in 2 games. Kansas City and Buffalo. How you doing? Yeah. I wonder why. Mahomes and Allen. How you doing? Isn't that funny? They picked Buffalo. You're an underdog to the Bills. You're favored in every other game. Rams, Bucks, Giants, Green Bay, Detroit, Washington, both except the Bills and the Chiefs. Yeah. Underdogs. Oh, no. How could you be an underdog to Josh Allen and the Bills? Jesus criminy. Really? Can't be. No way can that be. Nick Sirianni. Look at this. Nick Sirianni. Yeah, Nick Sirianni. And the great, what did the owner of the Eagles say? The mental, like, intelligence or some shit. Okay. So did Jalen Hurts make A.J. Brown and Saquon better? No. Saquon made Jalen better, and A.J. made Jalen better. Prior to those guys being there, I don't know what he was doing in 2021. Looked like a terrible offense. They got annihilated by the Bucks in the playoffs. Albeit it was Brady, though. Okay? Hey, Buffalo favored. Man, how can that possibly be? Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I looked at I was looking down the numbers here, and I'm like, right out of the gate, you never know, Sure enough, Buffalo Bills are favored to beat the Eagles. The best teams in the salary cap era, 95 Cowboys, the 24 Eagles, and the 07 Patriots, even though they didn't win the Super Bowl. That's okay to say that, Philly. That 07 Patriots, the 07 Patriots team were the best Patriots team that they ever had, for sure. And I like that order. 95 Cowboys, 24 Eagles, and the 2007 Patriots. I'm with that. In the salary cap era, those are your 3 greatest teams so far. I don't really think any one of those Kansas City teams, okay, I don't, were dominant football teams. I just don't. Okay, I absolutely do not. Hey, get this. I want to show you guys how dumb this comment is. A guy who can't throw for 4K. And if he was in a higher volume offense, he'd have $2,000. He's the 3rd most targeted player when healthy in the NFL at his position. You only throw to 2 guys. You don't throw to your tight end, and you don't even throw to wide receiver 3. And a guy, get this, you know who a better quarterback? Carson Wentz threw the ball better from the pocket than Jalen Hurts ever did. This guy had nobody on the year he threw for 4K in Philadelphia. That was over 500 yards receiving. I don't even know how he did that. It's remarkable. Okay? Where is that? I don't think that Saints team was all that hot, even though I thought they were really pretty decent on defense, too. I do. Hey, Forrest. Emmitt Smith is the best back ever to live. You know why? There's never been a level where he wasn't. He's a 11 or 15,000 yard rusher in high school. He was a 5,000 yard rusher in 3 years at Florida. And he's the all-time leading rusher. I mean, if you really want to put it down here, get this. Emmitt Smith had 12,000 rushing yards in high school. He had another 5,000 rushing yards in college. That's 17,000 rushing yards before I even get to his NFL career, which if you put his postseason, that's over 20,000. This guy had 40,000 rushing yards from high school to college to the pros. And you're going to try to fucking tell me you think somebody's better than that? Who? Who would be better than that? Get this. Total NFL yards in a season. You don't really think Saquon Barkley's a better running back than Emmitt Smith. How could you think that? Emmitt did it every single year for an entire career, and he started on a shitty team. Everyone thinks that Barkley came to a great team. Emmitt didn't. Emmitt didn't. Texas boy, educate these guys. Emmitt didn't come to a great football team. He came to a shitty team. And he went on to do, and here's another guy that was on a shitty team. It's another guy. There's another guy that was on a shitty team and elevated it. Barkley was placed on a great football team. Those other guys made those teams. Those are facts. Here, let me see something here. And go down to Emmitt showed up in 1990. So let's take a look at the Dallas Cowboys prior to Emmitt Smith showing up to the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys, year to year. I mean, I'm like you guys are like under the impression Emmitt got parachuted in and he was on some great football team. So his first year was 90. So prior to that, Emmitt Smith, 1-15, 3-13, 7-8, 7-8, 9-7, 6-3. You're making it sound like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 years previous to Emmitt showing up, they were 7-9, 1-15, 3-13. They won 11 games in 3 years. Emmitt gets there, they go 7-9. Then after that, 11-5, 13-3, 12-4, 12-4, 12-4, 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. Emmitt won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. Changed the entire landscape of the Cowboys. How many games did they play? 16. You imagine Emmitt Smith with an extra game? He'd have dropped a 2K game on there. By the way, what's that have to do with winning 3 Super Bowls? What's that have to do with winning 3 Super Bowls? And they sucked. They sucked. Aikman was a playmaker. Aikman, playmaker, etc. as well. I don't ever remember the Dallas Cowboys having a prolific passing game. I don't think Troy ever threw for over 3,500 yards. I don't ever remember. Yeah, wait a minute. Like I said, what were the Cowboys prior to Emmitt getting there? They had the same O-line prior to Emmitt when they only won 11 games in 3 years. Those guys were all on the team. That running back made that franchise. Barkley helped deliver the Super Bowl to you. No question. He put you over the top. He was the final peg to get you over the top is Saquon Barkley. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. How did Irving get into the Hall of Fame? It's called 3 rings of being A.J. Brown of his time with 3 championship rings. Michael Irvin probably doesn't make it to the Pro Football Hall of Fame on his numbers. He makes it because he was arguably one of the greatest third down receivers of all time. That's why. And he was one of the toughest covers of all time. Seals, answer me this. What does Barkley have to accomplish in the remainder of his career to put himself in the conversation of the greatest? He'll never be in that conversation. But Hall of Famer? It's a good question because his career has been wasted. Barkley's career has been wasted because of the shitty Giants. I mean, there is no question. You know how sometimes you see a guy go to a place, all of a sudden you see him go somewhere else and you're like, holy shit, that guy's great. Okay? He's right now, he's like, I think he's 80th in rushing. So the chances of him going to the Hall of Fame are pretty tough right now. Now, again, health has to play a massive issue here for him. It's a good question. What does he have to do? Let's see what his resume is. How many Pro Bowls? 1, 2, 3. In 7 years. Not great. Now, running backs, it's more difficult to make the Pro Bowl at running back than any other position in my book. So that's not really a killer. Remember, we get all the Hall of Fame voters on. You guys know I work for the Hall of Fame, and I work on panels that put together a list. He's the Offensive Player of the Year. He was first team AP, was third in the MVP voting. See, he's had that's a sensational season. One season doesn't make a career. I mean, it just doesn't. Consistency does. That's how you get to Canton. Look at Emmett. Like I said, 1563, 1,700 yards, 1483, 1773, 1584, 1397, 1392, 1188, and 25 touchdowns, 21 touchdowns, 18 touchdowns. Now, the tush push kills him because he's not going to have a high volume of touchdowns. That's going to kill him. The tush push itself kills Barkley. Because I'll tell you, if the tush push goes away and Barkley has 25 touchdowns, like this year, if Saquon puts this up, that's just he puts up 1,700 plus yards, 1,750. And if the tush push wasn't there and he had 20 touchdowns, you're talking about 3,900 rushing yards in 2 years. Voters, in my opinion, would look at that, and I would too, and go, well, here's a Hall of Fame talent that was on a shitty team. And I've talked to Jason Cole the other day about this. Archie Manning would be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame if he was on a great team. He won the MVP on the shitty Saints. He's a great football player. Unfortunately, he was on a shitty team. Matters. Okay? Barkley would have to really, in the next 4 years, in my opinion, Saquon would probably, and I'll add last year, obviously. Remember, the year before he had 962 yards on his shitty Giants team. I get it. 2005, what do you have in touchdowns? He had 13. If Barkley does this, adds another 1,750 and 10, adds another 1,500. He's 30 then. And 10. And let's just say he goes another 1,200. I'm just going with the war of attrition here in 9. That's 30 TDs. 12, 14. That's 4,450 yards in 3 years. On top of 7,216. Man, those rushing touchdown numbers are terrible in New York. I mean, 78 rushing touchdowns is not great. 6, and 11. He'd have 11,666 yards with another 3 years, and that would be his 10th season in pro football. I just don't know he has enough time. Now, it depends on what kind of hardware he puts up. 11,000 rushing yards, it's not a Hall of Famer. It's not a Hall of Famer. Remember, you don't make the Hall of Fame on wins. You make the Hall of Fame on your numbers. Now, I do think the hardware for a back matters. All-time leading rushers. And where 1166 would be all-time leading rushers. I like this comment today about the Eagles defense or the Eagle team being one of the top 5 teams. It is one of the top 5 teams. It is. I agree with him. 11,666 would put him in. He would be behind LaShawn McCoy, Fred Taylor, I mean, Frank Gore's got 16,000 rushing yards. Who are you going to put in the Hall of Fame first? Frank Gore or Saquon Barkley? He'll never catch. He's the 3rd all-time leading rusher. Gore's a Hall of... Get this. Are you trying to tell me a guy who doesn't have more rushing yards than Barry Sanders, Adrian Peterson, LaDainian Tomlinson, Eric Dickerson, Jim Brown, Edgerrin James, and only people ahead of him are Emmitt Smith and Walter Payton? I mean, what are we talking about here? 16,000 rushing yards versus $2,000 is not Hall of Fame. Now, again, there's 2 Super Bowls and another player of the year or a MVP in there, and you're starting to talk about different conversations. Because people will, I would take into account that the guy played on a shitty team. I totally would. So if Barkley stays healthy and gives us 1,800 yards each of the next 3 seasons. Hey, Bob, how many people have ever done that in pro football history? Have gotten over 1,800 yards 3 years in a row. Can you name me one? There isn't one. So you're saying as he gets older, you're going to give him 1,200 rushes and over 1,200 rushes because he would need 400 carries. Okay? And that means you'd have to give him 1,200 rushes, 1,200 rushing attempts to get that number. You think he's holding that up? Nobody in the history of the league has ever run for that many carries and that many yards in 3 consecutive years. There's no way he holds up to that. Not a chance. It's never happened. You're talking about fantasy. It's not happening. Bro, it's not happening. Seals, I agree, but he needs the strongest finish ever to offset his days. Like I said, though, Bob, if that guy wins another Super Bowl and he has 1,500 yards rushing and they win and you know he's a catalyst in it, that's going to play into people going, hey, man, this guy was a Hall of Fame player on a shitty team. Okay? No. Hey, OJ didn't get the big. OJ never played in one playoff game in his entire career because he was on a shitty team. And he played in an era where there was no free agency, so he couldn't move. Sills, what was the issue between Al Davis and Marcus Allen? I know the story well. I've talked to Al about it. It was a mistake by Al Davis. When they drafted Bo Jackson the year after the Bucs screwed it up, I think it was 86. Marcus Allen was a sensational running back in his own right. He was sensational. Sensational. When you watch Bo Jackson on the field and you watch him run, I've never seen a running back in my entire life ever as more talented as him. I've never seen anything like it. And that includes Eric Dickerson. That includes Walter Payton. Any of the backs I've ever played against. I've never seen anything like it. But I'll tell you one thing Marcus Allen had. He had a nose for the end zone. I mean, he just had a nose for the end zone. What a great football player Marcus Allen was. And again, I'll tell you what, Barkley has a little bit of that Bo Jackson thing that's probably going to hurt him, because you look at, do I think Saquon Barkley's a Hall of Fame talent? Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay? Do I think Bo Jackson's a Hall of Fame, NFL, Pro Football Hall of Fame talent? Absolutely. Again, you got to have substance to it, though. I've never seen a better back than Bo. This is so true here. Marcus Allen, man, tell him, Latin Inferno, if Marcus Allen got near the 10-yard line, he was scoring. He was not going to be denied. And what an insane pass catcher he was. Just an insane pass catcher. Like, you talk about Marcus Allen in today's NFL with all the shitty defenses that are in the NFL today. My God, Christian McCaffrey is not even in his room. When you watched him play, you didn't believe, because he looked like a gazelle. He was 6'3", about 235 pounds, and he got on the football field, man. And when he got in the open field, it was over. It's funny. I mentioned the other day the great backs that I played against. Marcus Allen's one of them. You heard this, like, guys, when you played against a guy like Marcus Allen, this is what you heard. Like, he ran right by you. Same thing with Dickerson. These guys were insane. Just insane. Barkley is, hey, I can't tell you how many times this year with Saquon, I said this guy's going to hit his head on the goalpost. This guy's going to hit his head on the goalpost. This guy's going to hit his head on the goalpost. Every single time he touched the ball, I thought he was going to break it open. Man, if you're a D coordinator this year, you know what I'm sitting doing? And by the way, no shade on your boy, Jalen Hurts. That guy frightens me. Who frightens you more, AJ or Barkley? AJ, if you're a secondary guy, you don't want to see that guy rolling around. You might be looking out your ear hole in the run game, and on a slant, you got to bring him down. Barkley gets the ball in his hand. He gets any kind of space. Yeah, he's taking it to the barn. Those two players are so freaking explosive. There's no team in the league that has that. And that includes the Ravens. As much as I love Derrick Henry, they don't have that combo. Zay Flowers does nothing for me. I think Lamar's a fine ball player, but the talent level they think they have at wide receiver in Baltimore doesn't even come close to the talent that they have in Philly. Dude, as much as you guys like Devontae Smith, he ain't A.J. Brown. I don't know if I'm a coordinator and I'm looking at it. The only reason that I don't fear A.J. as much is because they're going to run the ball, because that old line. And if I'm a D coordinator, how to stop Philly, I don't really think it's that hard. They're not a hard offense. They're not a very complex offense. they're either going to throw it or they're going to run it. They don't have very many complex plays. You know why? You don't spread the ball around. You don't go to tight ends and wide receiver 3. You don't do any of that shit. You guys go to the Y and the Z, and you throw to the numbers. You throw the slant. You throw the wheel route. That's it. It's not a complicated offense. By the way, it's not a rip. They can't stop it. Okay? Get this. See this guy here? Derrick Henry has no lateral movement. Derrick Henry this year, if he has a normal season, will be number 4 in all-time rushing. For a guy that you said has no lateral movement, he's a great downhill runner, great stiff arm, no jukes. So what you're saying, Ben, is that Derrick Henry's the Shaquille O'Neal of running backs. Is that right? Shaq never had a shot. He couldn't shoot free throws, but yet he scored 28 and 14 every night. Is that right? So he's probably the Shaq of running backs. He's not a lateral movement guy. Okay? He doesn't have a free throw shot. But yet Shaq averaged 28 and 14. Okay. Derrick Henry's the Shaquille O'Neal of running backs. I think so. I don't think your take's shitty. Okay? I don't. Because, again, you couldn't stop Shaq. You can't stop Henry. I'm not taking it. No. I'm not taking nothing personal. I'm just saying, I think you're not putting enough of an emphasis on all that was true that you said, but you still couldn't stop it. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I think Saquon's more. I think he's more athletic. Absolutely. Okay, absolutely. Bo could run through guys like I've never seen a guy that big and that fast and that agile and that powerful. You ever see him break a bat in his hands? I don't know. Xander should, before I bring Xander on, you should Google it. Guys, he took a baseball bat like this once and broke it like this. Bam! Have you ever had a baseball bat in your hand and tried to break it like that? He broke it because he struck out. He did another one. He broke it over his head. I've never seen a guy in my life that strong. And like I said, when you saw Bo Jackson and you were looking at him straight up, his legs didn't look that big. You got to the side, his legs looked like a thoroughbred. I mean, he looked like Secretariat's legs. I mean, and then, like I said, if you've ever seen him, the power in his hands and the power that he had in his lats, he took a regular Adirondack baseball bat and just broke it in like half. Insanity. And I had to hit that guy. Hey, let me tell you want your chiclets rattled? Hit Bo. That guy can play, dog. Farzetta's going to join us at 5 o'clock. And we will talk also with Merrill Reese. Contract to old Nicky. Couldn't wait to bring that up, man. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the gardener. Nick. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Yeah, did I say that? Holy cow. All right. One of the cool things we do here at JAKIB. And by the way, folks, I got asked a question this morning by some media outlet. So, Sills, what about the JAKIB show? And I'm like, the JAKIB show is Sills. The other shit is just what it is, shit. And I said it. It is. Right? This is it. This is it. How you doing? All right. Now, I'm going to ask Xander a bunch of these questions. Oh, wait a minute here. Before I bring Xander up, I heard this morning on Birds 365. John McMullen's outstanding, by the way. He's getting – Xander's making him better. This is what I'm hearing out of John McMullen. Fuck that. Fuck this. Fuck that. I was like, what the hell? Holy shit. Xander's got this guy dropping F-bomb. Horrible. He is a horrible influence on John McMullen. Talking chicks and Diddy. And does John even know who Diddy is? All right. Let me say this to you. If you think the commissioner of the National Football League is going to take an L on that tush push, you are smoking crack. He is now even more emphatic about getting that play banned. And without further ado, the co-host of Birds 365, our friend, Big C, Xander Kraus, joins us.
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brother?
I love the roux, bro. Looks good.
Thanks,
on you.
It's Bucket Hat Friday, Sileo. That's what I'm calling it.
I like it. Let me tell you what I would do in that September 4th opener.
We're going to beat the shit out of them.
Oh, there's no doubt. I think you beat them by 20.
Yeah, I think we beat the piss out of the Dallas Cowboys.
You know what I would do the first play of the game? I'd run the tush push.
Yeah.
I would just to kind of like, because, hey, if Jeffrey Lurie's using wet dreams, I mean, anything's on the table, don't you think now? I mean,
yeah, that was a weird shot.
Wouldn't you jam? Look at what the Eagles are doing now. They're selling T-shirts. They got T-shirts and they got gear now based on that win off that tush push play.
Listen, man, I don't know what was up with that comment. But listen, here's the thing I love about what Jeffrey Lurie did. He let his nuts hang. He walked into there. He's chirping Roger Goodell. He's chirping Tony Vincent. He's Troy Vincent. He's chirping all these dudes, man. About wanting to get rid of the tush push. He let it hang, and he comes out of there with a victory for Philadelphia. All right. I'm proud of Jeffrey Lurie. I am proud of Jeffrey Lurie for his performance this week, despite the Diddy comment with the wet dream, which is weird.
Weird. I had a comment, and somebody talked to me about the passing of, Jim Irsay. And Peyton Manning said that, Jim Irsay made football fashionable in Philadelphia. By the way, all supers will be read at the end. Please hit the like button. And he said that he was Mr. Indianapolis with football in his state. You and I know this. We're college guys, Xander. Indiana's I know Notre Dame's there, but that's a best Hoosiers.
Yeah.
Butler Fieldhouse.
Hoosiers, that's a great movie. Is that not a great movie?
Yeah. Right. Indiana University, right? You know what I mean? I mean, he made it when he his dad moved the team there, and he did more for the face of Indianapolis football. So my question to you, and you're pretty much you're a great example because you have lived in the era and you've been raised in the era of Philadelphia football under Jeffrey Lurie for the last 30 years. If you were going to put a face to the Jeffrey Lurie era and who was the most significant guy, in your opinion, to the winning of what this owner has brought, who would it be?
It'd be Howie.
Howie.
It'd be Howie.
Why?
Because all the success that the team has had, I feel like has come in large part in the way that he's built the team in the last 10 years. I think when he got back to reins, how much he learned and what he did differently. And even if you look at the last two winning regimes, all right, with Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson and that team and Nick Foles, obviously, versus now, look at how much Howie has corrected from that team who also won to this team. I mean, we got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, man. You got Saquon Barkley. You got the offensive line is still that good. Vic Fangio comes in to complete the defensive, turnaround. I think it's Howie. I really think that when I think about it, the way you phrased it, it'd be Howie Roseman is what I think of when I think of the success of this team in the last under Jeffrey Lurie.
If you had to pick a Super Bowl performance and an MVP performance during his era, and you had to pick between Foles and Jalen's MVP performance, how would you rank them?
You'd probably go Foles because, you got to consider that the defense gave up 500 yards that day.
They sure did.
Tom Brady. Yeah. You got to consider that versus Jay. And this is no knock on
No,
Jalen.
no,
Tough
no,
question,
Jay.
right? I mean, yeah, this is
No,
no knock,
no,
but
no,
our
no.
defense this year did kind of, how Patrick Mahomes didn't cross midfield until the 10th drive. I mean, think about that. That is insane.
It is.
Right?
It is.
John always tells a story about Jim Schwartz, and you talk to Jim Schwartz about that Super Bowl, he's still pissed.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't think of that Super Bowl and get happy thoughts. He's like, we gave up 500 yards that day. I'm not too happy about that. So I think considering the circumstance, considering what happened and who you played and how the game unfolded, I think you got to go with Nick Foles there. But overall, the player, obviously, that's been more impactful to Philadelphia has been Jalen Hurts.
All right. So Saquon Barkley barked out that he thought that the Eagles had a top 5 football team of all time. And I heard John say it, and he's right. I mean, you go all time. There's so many other things you have to take into account. There was no free agency. There's no cap until 1994. I mean, it's almost impossible, right, Xander? I mean, like if you were in that era back in the day with the Dolphins, you're not losing Josh Sweat. You're not losing Milton Williams because there was no free agency. You just weren't going to lose them. Nobody had a salary cap then. So It's almost impossible. So what I did was I went and I threw it from 94 on with the salary
that's better.
So that you could look at it that.
Why? So you can include the Cowboys? No, when were they? 92?
No, 95 Cowboys. They have to be number 1. They have to be. But we're going – I want to give it context for him. Is he right? Is it a top 5 team of all time? I got it too.
Yeah, you'd know this. You and John would have a much better answer on this than me. I mean, I don't – it's hard for me to gauge, teams before because I didn't get to watch every game.
I think they're the second best team since 1994 that I've ever seen.
Wow. Behind who you got one?
Cowboys 95. Other than
Cowboys
that, I think
95?
they're better than the Rams. Get this, Xander. I think they're better than the 01 Ravens. I think they're better than the 2000 greatest show on turf.
Rams.
Okay, and I think they're better than the 2004 Patriots. I think they're better than that 17-0 Patriot.
It's funny because I was going to say if they won that team might be the best.
Oh, it would be the best.
Yeah, it would be right. What was that? 2007? Was that 2007?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay, I got that.
That's the Giants one, right?
Yeah, right. Those 10-6 Giant teams. I'm not putting them in there, but if I had to go to Saquon's point, top 5 ever. Well, in his lifetime, that began in 94 when it came to the cap. So I would rank them this way: the 1995 Dallas Cowboys, the 2024 Philadelphia Eagles, and I would probably say that undefeated New England Patriots team that got upset in the Super Bowl would be the best teams that I've ever seen. I want to put a championship there, but I'm still going to put that Patriots because they did win multiple Super Bowls other than just that year. So I'll probably say that. But, bro, I got to say it. I think that 24 team is – you'll look back on that 24 team 5 years from now, and you'll see that team a little bit different, and you'll have it in higher regard because of what that unit did. Being number 1 on defense. You know how hard it is to be number 1 on defense?
Yeah. Ready? So you got them as the number 2 team since 94.
Yeah.
And you think their coach and quarterback's a caboose?
No, I think that O-line and that running back are sensational. I think the quarterback's a caboose, and I think that head coach is more like a guy. He's a doorman at a strip club. That's what I see him at. Over there, table 6. Right. Where do you want to sit in VIP, or do you want to sit down there in front of the stage?
I mean, listen to Sills, the second greatest team since 94. Their coach sucks. Their quarterback.
Wait a minute. One thing is for sure, you're not going to put that guy in the top 5 coaches of all time. I can promise you that. He's more like this. Next stop, Upper Marlboro.
Oh, bullshit, man. Well,
hey, next stop, Cape May.
You secretly love Nick Sirianni. I really do.
Next stop, Cape May.
I think you love Nick Sirianni. Oh, Cape May, I'll get on that bus. I'll get on that one.
Stop Montauk.
There you go. That's not my style, though.
Yeah, hey,
you think I could wear this bucket hat in Montauk? I don't know, man. That's a different club.
That's big money up there, Junior.
Yeah.
That's where those guys are. All right. I heard, you had some really great topics today. Let me ask you this. Who do you want the ball in the hands of more, not named Jalen Hurts this coming season?
AJ
Barkley or
Brown.
AJ? Why AJ?
AJ Brown. Because you have AJ Brown. What more do I need to say, right? It'd be like having Randy Moss, and you're like, oh, why do you want to get him the ball? You don't say this about any other receiver. All right. Now maybe okay. All right. I know. Oh, AJ Brown. I know. AJ Brown's a top 2, and he ain't number 2 receiver in the National Football League. Throw him the ball.
Barkley was number 1 in the game last year. He was Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, I don't know. I'm not saying this to take away from Saquon, but you can still easily get him 300 plus touches in the running game and have AJ Brown get the ball more. All right. I think AJ Brown's got to get that freaking ball more, man, simply because he is that good. We haven't found a team yet that can stop him in one-on-one in any circumstance. Sills, last year, it literally turned into, if Jalen saw a man on the outside, they didn't even have to speak. It was go route, and I'm tossing it up. And every time AJ got it. I mean, he's that good. Get him the ball.
How many times on a Monday did I say this to you? How are you leaving that guy one-on-one on the outside?
Well, you got AJ Brown.
Because you got Barkley running the ball in the middle in there. And if you're a D coordinator and you're putting your game plan this year trying to stop the Eagles, who do you fear more, Barkley or AJ?
If you're the defense?
If you're a defensive coordinator and you're putting up a game plan and you're going, who frightens me more?
Yeah, that's a tough question because if I sit here and say Saquon Barkley, which I think is the answer, everybody's well aware of what AJ can do to you, and then the other way around, if you're going to say, oh, I'll take away AJ Brown because I think he's the best receiver in football, obviously Saquon Barkley just showed the whole world what he can do if you're going to let him. So look, that's what makes this Eagles team special. And by the way, the facilitator does deserve a lot of credit in Jalen Hurts. I mean, AJ Brown doesn't throw the ball to himself, for crying out loud. All right. So Jalen Hurts deserves a lot of credit in this. You add him, you add in Smith and Goddard as kind of a pair of another great set of pass catchers. AJ Barkley, offensive. Oh, holy shit. This fucking Philly Eagles team is unreal.
Would you make this comparison? Would you say that A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley are as good as Emmett and Michael Irvin? As a tandem? Name me a better tandem of running back and wide receiver in the NFL today.
Yeah, now this is tough to respond for me because I was born in 98, so I didn't watch those dudes in their prime. Now, I've watched them on highlight tapes. I've watched all the YouTubes. I've seen it all. But I didn't watch him in real time. Like I'm watching Saquon and AJ in real. I watched Saquon Barkley legitimately terrorize the NFL for 17 straight weeks last year. I've never seen that before in my life. I've never seen and watched, and then also covered the team, so I was so up close to it. I've never seen that before. I mean, coming into every game, it was like, we got to take away Saquon Barkley, and nobody could take away Saquon Barkley outside of Spagnuolo. So I would lean toward AJ and Saquon, but that's because I watch them. That's because they're my team. That's because there's a lot of personal bias there, I'll admit. So yeah. I don't know if they were better than the other guys.
And I think it's kind of a hard convo because, again, those two dudes won 3 Super Bowls. And they're 2 Hall of Fame players.
That's true.
Okay, so you know the story. We still don't know the story. Well, we got the beginning of the story here with these 2 guys playing together for the first time. Because, Xander, I think one of the things that I look at with AJ, and I'm a D coordinator, every single time, I've never seen anything more dominant in my life. And it does remind me of those Cowboy teams that had Michael Irvin and had Emmett. Because, dude, you know what? You could go back and forth and debate whether you think Jefferson or Chase or whomever is better than AJ. You can't really debate who had a better year last year than Barkley. Now, I don't know if they're going to be able to do that consistently the way Michael and Emmett did. But, boy, I'll tell you what, if I'm a coordinator, both those guys frighten the shit out of me on how to game plan against both of those guys. I mean, they are just the 2 most dominant non-quarterback tandem in the NFL. Dude, you can have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins all you want. I'll take AJ and Barkley and I'm going to beat your doorknobs off with them.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Wait, so do you, AJ or Irvin?
You know, the volume of passes together are pretty comparable. You know, I mean, it's not a high volume. You said that today. It's not a high volume passing offense.
Not a high volume at all. It's not.
Okay.
I mean,
it's just not. I think AJ's a little bit better of an athlete than Michael. I think Michael is just, he's the best teammate I've ever had. I'm so biased though. I mean, like you're biased with the Eagle. I'm so biased to him.
Yeah, how can you not be? I mean, he's been on the show.
Like one of my closest friends. I mean,
and he's. I mean, it doesn't take away that he is dominant. It's not like you're biased to the point of.
But I want to be fair to AJ, man. Because every time I watch that guy, I swear to you, I mean, every time Monday comes, I'm like, you're leaving that guy wide open. He's going to maul you on one-on-ones.
Let me ask you this question about Michael Irvin. All right, because I know how you talk. I know how people talk about Troy Aikman now. Obviously, with the way he facilitated, and he's got 3 Super Bowls. He's a Hall of Famer and everything. But you know, I don't want to call him a caboose, but he wasn't the main catalyst. I understand that. Did people talk about Michael Irvin at that time, saying they got to get him the ball more? They got did people put pressure on Troy that he wasn't doing enough getting the ball to Michael Irvin? Because the reason I say this is I hate discussing A.J. Brown versus Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase right now, because I truly believe if you strip all of it down and you take all the other factors out, I believe A.J. Brown's more talented than both of those players. But they appear better because of the offense that they exist in right now, versus AJ doesn't exist in a wide receiver heavy offense.
Okay.
So how do you comp that?
Question. It's a great question. And I'll tell you this. Do you not feel when you watch the Bengals play, the Dolphins play with Waddle and with Hill, it's more open. It's more spread out.
Yeah.
It's less guardrails. The Eagles play in a guardrail offense. It's either this. If we're running the football, we're not going to deviate off that in any way whatsoever until you prove. The Eagle offense is this, Xander. Stop it until you can. And if you can't, I'm going to run it down your face, or we're going to continue to do it. It's just they play more in a restricted offense. And AJ, he doesn't play in a wide-out offense.
No, he doesn't at all.
He plays like Michael. Michael played in a restricted offense. They were never going to have the type of yards that Jerry Rice or anybody else ever had, because they just didn't have a wide open offense. They ran the football. It's really a great comparison, Michael Irvin and A.J. Brown. And again, to be fair to A.J., do I look at him like I look at Irvin? I do.
You do. I
got to tell you, you asked the question. Did people say get the ball more to Michael? Dude, there were cameras weren't allowed on the sidelines back then. You could see Michael Irvin doing this. Hey, get me the fucking ball.
Right.
I mean, he was bitching at Troy. They would have arguments back and forth the same way you see A.J. Brown having arguments sometimes with Hurts and the OC. Michael did the same shit doing that. They didn't have social media. Now he's not reading a book, but dude, he was in guys' asses all the time, and he was always hollering to get the ball to him. So that was a big issue. I always thought the only thing, how about this, Xander? I think the only thing that compromised Michael from not having the big numbers, because he always I thought he was better than Jerry Rice, was the fact that he had 3 Super Bowls. I think that's the only reason. And like AJ last year, him getting that ring, I think that's what really made him not open his face in the offseason here so far, is because, you know what? At the end of the day, if it results in us winning, that's all that truly does matter. I want my targets. He wants them emphatically. I actually think also it makes him hungrier.
I agree with that. That.
Okay.
It's different. And, the other thing that's different here is
don't you think that motivates him like this, going like this?
Definitely.
Because people now will do this, right, Xander? They'll do this. They think it was Barkley, huh? Well, wait till you get a load of me in 25.
That's got to be Jalen, man. Jalen's got to get that ball out. By the way, the Eagles put up a video today of the guys playing basketball. Dude, Cooper DeJean is insane. Saquon tosses the ball off the backboard, and Cooper DeJean slams it easily like he's an NBA guy. I'm like, what the? This dude is a freaking freak.
Did you see him? Did you see him shooting baskets in
dude.
Phoenix?
Yeah.
When he was making those like Steph Curry baskets from 25 feet?
Cooper, man, he's next level. By the way, did you see Nick Winiani draining 3-pointers?
Oh man, so the door guy's shooting hoops with the guys. That's cute. I like it.
Oh, he's cashing threes. Cashing
yeah.
threes.
13-5, baby.
Cashing threes. Winning Super Bowls. 60 and 20 record or whatever the heck it is. Nick Sirianni's just winning in every facet of life, Sills.
I know he is. Too bad by week 5 they'll be asking for his job again. We'll see.
God bless him. No, they won't.
Hey, okay.
Cataldi's off the air. They won't be asking that.
What's going to be the biggest battle in camp? Corner or right guard, in your opinion, this year? What do you think will be corner?
Right guard might be bigger, but it's less controversial because it's not as consequential.
Because it's been interchangeable.
And also it's like Sills, like, let me ask you this. All right. How worried are you about the offense right now? With the right guard spot being up in the air? You got 10 of 11. You got 10 of 11 coming back.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the approach, and I'm worried how they're going to do it, but I'm not really worried about the skill set of the team.
And here's a more specific question. How worried are you about the Eagles' offensive line being a top 5 unit this year?
None at all.
Okay, me too. So where are you on the secondary, right? I mean, the question there is way bigger. So it's a much more consequential position. And, I don't know what Keely Ringo is. I think Keely Ringo is going to win the job, but I have no idea what the heck he is or what he's going to be. I think Adoree Jackson actually has a good chance to get significant playing time. I wonder if they try and go not full committee, but if it's not as clear cut as we think. Like, is Keely Ringo just going to get the starting job and then play every snap? I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go, but I think definitely corner is the biggest one.
Are you putting too much stock in Makuba?
We all are. We've all written him in as a starter that has C.J. Gardner-Johnson-like traits, so we assume he's going to produce like him. That's
a reach. That's
more than a reach. All right. I'm wearing Eagle glasses, and I can still sit here and tell you that we're reaching for the stars in that one. I mean, let's look now. He could do it, but it's definitely a pipe dream for sure. All right. It's definitely a pipe dream. So we'll see what happens.
You think they have the guy on the roster right now? Do you think they have the guy on the roster right now to cover for Slay?
I think they're going to try and go with what they have in Ringo and Adoree Jackson, but there's people talking about some rumblings of some corner moves that might come. I don't really see it with one of these older corners, but hey, maybe it's something that they try and do. It probably, I don't know. Do you bring in a veteran corner at this stage?
Well, they brought a veteran safety in a week before the season in 22 when it came to Gardner-Johnson. He's capable of doing anything and making them. I think that's going to be all on Vic. If Vic doesn't see, okay?
Look at Crowley. Xander, he's fighting Sidney Brown. Dude.
Then it's not much of a fight.
Yeah, it's not much of a fight. I think that's Crowley's point.
If you had to
it's a tough one.
If you had to pick a coach to coach this 2025 team, would you pick Nick or Doug?
Nick.
Why over Doug?
Because the 2025
Have you lost respect for not respect?
No. Not at all. Not at all. I've lost zero respect for Doug. I'm just saying that the more the picture is framed with the new regime, you can get a better sense on what went on with Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson was awesome. Doug Peterson, in a way, shot himself in the foot. And I think he shot himself in the foot because he felt cornered by doing what the organization wanted. And it was almost like his man card sales was jumping out. Like, even if I feel like they're right, I don't want them to tell me what to do. I'm a Super Bowl winning coach, and I feel like that's what got in his way versus Nick Sirianni. Instead of being resistant to what the front office wants to do, he's gotten in full union with it. and kind of gone with it. And he almost created a wave of momentum one way versus Doug was kind of pushing back on what they wanted to do. And that created friction. So I just think Nick Sirianni, for that reason, would be a better coach because the team is never going to be built with this regime in terms of the ownership in the front office, like a Doug Peterson team where the coach has more say.
Here's to me, and you fill it in after I say this. Do you not agree that if this was a 2017 team, that I would rather have Doug Peterson as my coach because it's more veteran laden and it's a veteran guy and it's a veteran type style of coaching. But because there's so much, what was that one stat that you brought up with John, that how many guys are over the age of 25 on that defense?
No, not many, man. Not many.
I mean, like what? What is it? Reed?
Reed's over 25. Quinyon, no. Cooper, no. Reed might be like 25, right? Reed.
I mean, how many guys are on that football team that are over the age of 25 on defense, especially?
Reed just turned 26 in March. So let's see, who am I missing? You got the guys, Carter, no. Davis might be like 25. Ajomo, no. Nolan, no. Probably like Uche, maybe Ojulari, but those are backup
I'm talking
guys.
about guys who are good, not guys who are garbage cans. Your frontline guys.
Zach Bond is 28.
Zach Bond's your oldest guy.
That's
and
Adori's 29.
Doesn't that make more sense that if you were going to have a younger team, you want to have a coach who's growing into the role, not a guy who was already set in his ways?
Absolutely. Doug would work much better with a veteran team. I agree.
Okay, and right, I mean, it's just when you're looking at building a team, they're building the team with the young coach too, right? Along with the young players. I mean, they're coming along together here. All right, I like that. Last question for you before we get to the supers here. Super chats will be read here in a minute. I threw this out because I don't know. How much do you think they're going to show during in-season Hard Knocks? Well, and will there be a star that comes out of this with the in-season Hard Knocks? I'll tell you one guy who got look like a horse's ass. That was Joe Schoen.
I'll tell you who I think
New York Giants thing a year ago.
All right, this is who I think is going to be the star. And star does not necessarily mean a good thing, okay? Star can mean star in my definition that I will use for my response. A star means the person who creates the most headlines, all right? Whether that's tweets, texts, Facebook posts, whatever the case may be. That's the star, okay? I'm not talking about the guy that wows the fan. Oh, we're going to win the Super Bowl because of that guy, all right? The star of the show.
Xander should be a casting agent because he just basically profiled who the guy's going to be, and I happen to agree. Go ahead.
All right. The star of the show will be who?
A.J. Brown.
Nope. The star of the show is going to be Nick Sirianni.
Big Dom has a better shot at being a star than Nick Sirianni. Baby.
I could see Nick being a star if he gives some of his goofy speeches and they get him on record and people chirp him. Now, the other thing is,
Nick, this is going to be great. Oh my God.
Nick is also impressionable. So like Nick could see the
You mean he's a follower?
Well, Nick could see cameras and temper it and give more of the classic coach speeches. But if Nick goes his route, which I hope he does, because I think Nick, this is what
he's going to lose his job over there.
You're a Super Bowl winner, man. Embrace who you are. You care what Twitter says? You care what nerds in this chat say? You care what nerdy-ass Big Sill says? Screw Big Sills, man. Screw all these nerds in the chat. Screw my dumbass wearing a bucket hat. Be you. Be you. And if he's him, he'll be the star of the show. Now, AJ could be. All right, AJ could be. Saquon could be. Jalen definitely won't be.
He's goofy. No, that's the one guy who will not be a star out of Hard Knocks.
No. Jalen won't be a star. Jalen won't be a star on that. He's not going to give them anything.
Here's my prediction on Hard Knocks in season. The guy who will be made to look like the biggest goofball in the history of NFL coaches will be Nick Sirianni with his uncomfortable ways of talking and doing shit and planting flowers and seeds and T-shirts and shit. If that guy doesn't win,
Wait,
he
you
will
realize
be made
that
to look like the biggest asshole in the history of NFL coaching.
the Cowboys tried to duplicate Sirianni with their Schottenheimer hire, right?
Wait, is he goofy? I don't even know who the kid is.
No, he's a off the cuff. Nobody knew him. Nobody expected him to be good. He's a players type of coach. He's going to connect with the players and do all those goofy things, and they're going to be able to boss him around in that front office like they wanted to do there too. So they're hoping that he's got a little Nick Sirianni in him.
Jesus Christ! Well, I can't wait for the in-season Hard Knocks to start, because if there's going to be a guy who's going to give us the most content, it's going to be Goofball Nick. That's going to give us the content. And then you're going to have Big Dom, who's going to be in. Dude, I just wonder how much say the Eagles have on what's going to be allowed to be like put out there on camera. Because if you learn anything from Joe Schoen, Hoss, I want to have a high edit button.
Well, so I think the teams get final edit.
Oh, do they? Okay.
I think the teams.
And how did the Giants allow that shit?
I know but that was part of the controversy that they allowed that. So I think the teams get final edit. So I'm not sure about that, but you already know that Jeffrey Lurie is not going to let anything crazy get out there.
No way.
It's going to be good. I'm excited for it. Like I said, I'm a football honk, and during the season, it's all Eagles all the time. Maybe so much so that it's a detriment to the rest of my life outside of my work. But I'm going to watch it. I'm going to lock in. I think it's like Tuesday nights or whenever it comes out. I watched the AFC North last year, and I'll be locked in. I'm excited for it. Why not? It's extra Eagles content.
No, oh, God forbid. Can I tell you, I'd have one request from Bob Lang and the Eagles, if they could do this. Get Nick Sirianni's daughter to get up there again at the press conference when she's doing all that hand stuff and she's goofing on her old man. It makes him look human and it makes him look awesome. I thought, and he's sitting there talking to, you're right. That's the way we want to do things.
The beat reporters blew a gasket about that. They were, how dare he defend himself with his kids? It's like, dude, shut up. Just do your job, nerds.
I loved it. I thought it was a dad being a dad, and the kids, he showed you how she kept doing it anyway. I thought she just shows you when you listen to Jeff. By the way,
why are all beat writers such a certain way? It's so
really weird. Jeff Kerr and McMullen. You can't have her in, and you're like, what are you talking about? You don't ask any questions anyway. Let's get to the supers, my friend.
Wait, I got some questions. I got a couple questions here for you on a Football Friday. I make these great questions, so I spend time. I sit in my office. I think about questions. And then I think about asking them to John, and I'm like, he's just gonna fucking shit on me. He's not even gonna answer these questions. So I said I'm gonna take a couple of them down and take them for you. All right. Would you rather have this year for the Eagles? The number one scoring offense or the number one defense?
Number one defense.
Because you'd win, right?
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
No way would I want to have. You know what? No, it can't be a dog shit. And they weren't. Okay. I mean, if you look at points scored, weren't they in the top 5 in points scored last year? Then they have like 26 a game or some shit like that. And they had the number one points against, right? I mean, dude, that's at the end of the day. That's how you win Super Bowls, isn't it? I mean, It's not really about total yardage.
Even Jalen Hurts knows that.
Jalen said defense wins championships.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Will Jalen Hurts finish as a top 3 MVP candidate this year? Wait, here's the thing. Top 3 or outside the top 10?
Oh no, and not outside the top 10.
Oh, no, all right.
No way. You can't have bro. Like I said, I hate the optics, how it looks. You still can't shit on the resume. You just can't. You can't do this. If that guy throws for 1,500 yards this year and they're 15 and 2, what are you going to do? Well, the guy fucking sucks throwing the ball. They're 15 and 2, guy.
Dude, you
At
picked
the
them
end
to
of-
win 10 games, dude.
Hey, I'm just saying, man.
Pick me your guns.
I didn't say they'd win 10 games.
What was your record prediction?
11.
Was it?
Yeah, 11-6.
11-6. You and J-Mac both?
Yeah, I got 11-6.
All right, ready? Life post Jason Kelsey, life post Brandon Graham. Who's the next Eagles sweetheart for Philly?
Koopa. The Great White Hope. I want me
Great White Hope. Are you kidding me? I'm not calling him that. The Great White Hope. That's ridiculous.
I want the Great White Hope. Hey, if Caitlin Clark can work it, why can't Cooper DeJean work it? I'm a white boy DB. Why can't he? Why can't he work it? Caitlin's working it. Is she not?
Hilarious. Caitlin Clark is a star for sure.
No.
Man. She's a star.
Do you see how many people watch that stupid shit? Between
Oh,
Chicago, there was like 3 million people. The first game of the Eastern Conference Finals had 6 million. They had 3 million.
I'll tell you what. I'll say this about Angel Reese too. That I don't know why more people aren't saying this. That girl is a certified genius because she sucks ass at basketball. She is awful at laying the ball up, but she knows that all she's got to do is get in a riff with Caitlin Clark when she plays her, and she will be a star. And that's exactly what she's become.
I'm going to tell you who she reminds me of. You're too young for this. Some of the folks in here will get it. She reminds me of a Dennis Rodman who starts so much shit. She wears great clothes. She's great looking. She's this and that. But I'll tell you one thing, man. She's a winner. She was a winner in college. She won championships. And like you said, she's a great promoter. She might be the best.
Dude, she's riding Caitlin Clark's coattails. It's all good. It's not a bad thing. She's smart. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. So when you ask me the next darling of the Philadelphia Eagles and Philadelphia fan base, it's the Great White Hope.
Dude,
it's Mr. Oreo Cookie himself. It is, without a doubt, it is Cooper DeJean. Because you know what you got here? You got a guy. This is what well, shit, what do you call Ty Robinson? What's his nickname? The White Gorilla? What do you call that guy?
Why are we as a society so obsessed with this bullshit? I do not understand it, man.
Because it sells.
That's true. I don't know why it sells, but I guess it does. You're right about that. It certainly does sell. It's funny. The way I was raised was completely 100% polar opposite to everything that our society teaches and preaches and talks about when it comes to that. I mean, complete and utter opposite of what the world is with that now. But hey, listen, you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying that my bubble is what it is, what the truth is.
I saw something before we get to the sewer. I saw something that just was kind of perplexing. The Buffalo Bills are fucking favored over your Philadelphia Eagles.
Where's that game? That game's in Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only 2 teams. Buffalo actually is the only team this year in the NFL, in the preseason at least, where they're favored in every football game that they're going to play.
But they're home in that game. You get 3-point swing if you're home, and they're only favored by a point.
You are an underdog in 2 games, Kansas City and Buffalo.
We're away on both of them. So what's the line? It's an Eagles line if it's only 1.5.
It's an Eagle. You're an underdog.
It's an Eagles line.
You're an underdog.
The Eagles versus the Bills in Buffalo with a 1.5 line is an Eagles line.
Eagles are under. Wait a minute. Here, I'll have to do a Marco Rubio on you. Yes or no? Are you an underdog? Yes or no? It's simple. Yes. Okay. I think that's kind of crazy though. So Vegas has the Eagles right now at 15-2. Is that right? If you're going to go by the point spread, they got the Eagles at 15-2.
Well, no. What's their win total? What's their win-loss?
I don't know, man. I'll tell you this. 15-2, you're favored in 15 of 17 games. I got them right here.
On wins for 2025.
It's got to be 13.
Let's see what their win total is on here. 11.5.
Ooh.
Smash the over on that, man.
Big sales, 11.5. I got him. I didn't even know that.
I'm smashing the over. I'm
smashing
the over.
Yeah, when you start out 2-2 again, people be screaming and crying.
We started out 2-2. Wait a second. We started out 2-2 last year. Who gives a shit?
Oh, okay. You guys did last year. You see all the crying and moaning?
Oh, yeah, really? We had a parade in February.
Oh, yeah. I know you guys are still on the fucking float.
Oh, yeah. The 2-2 start will really hinder us. Guys, if we start 2-2, sell the ship. Sell your jersey, sell your fandom, get out of town and do everything to hate the Eagles. What a dumb take by you.
Hey, get this. I am sure that Mabuka, or whatever his name is, Makuba, I'm sure that dude's going to be the next Brian Dawkins. I guarantee you. The way Eagle fan talks, Moro Jomo, that guy's going to turn into the next Reggie White, according to you guys. I mean, they're set. Hey, wait a minute. Is that Seth Joyner, or is that kid from Georgia? Is that Seth? Holy shit! Let's get to the supers here.
You see, Nakobe Dean was moving pretty good out there on that court.
Nakobe Dean, how's the chicken wing doing? Yeah, Nakobe Dean's doing ballet. I saw. Good for him.
East Coast Rico becomes a member. Thank you, brother. He's one of our newer watchers. Rico, we appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being here.
Wait a minute, Xander. The green, is that in honor of the military memorial?
No, it's not. It's just Buckethead Friday. It's the 3rd of 3. This is my beach. This has got that nice material. It's waterproof and everything. So it's got the waterproof thing.
I like bucket hats. I love bucket hats.
Yeah, you guys remember the last. So my new thing when I order hats is like, how much can I stir up the people? Like how many comments can I get? I got Bob Brown showing up on a Football Friday just to criticize my bucket hat. So this one I wasn't in. Remember, I wore this last week, but I wasn't in my studio, so it didn't pop as much as it does here. As you can see, how much this sucker pops. This thing is fire, Bob Brown.
It looks like you got it at Augusta National.
It's fire.
It looks good. I love
it. I like those hats. It's Packers colors. Shut up, nerds.
That's Packer colors. Packers have yellow in it. That's not really a yellow. That's a lime kind of.
Young Grasshopper Zanda wins again. Wow. Rich says, Still's pipe dream is making P. Diddy's bet. Yo, Rich, what is that? It's a bad comment, Rich.
Hey, dude, why are you in the weirdo room? Hey, Rich, you're in the weirdo.
I don't know what's up with Rich.
Rich, I mean, seriously, dude. I mean, stay off like the porn.com thing at night. I mean,
this is what you call them. You call them cornheads. Cornhead. Okay, that's what you call them.
How can you have Cooper DeJean and how could you have Q as the picture and you have that line there? I mean, dog, seriously. Boyfriendsareus.com. Try a new website at night.
Get off the corn. Come on, man.
Yeah.
You heard
you guy's a corn dodger.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Right on the bench checking in. He says, the questions on defense should be offset by the offense performing better. If Eagles' passing game takes the next step, then winning is inevitable. But that's not really true because look at the Bengals last year. They had a great passing game. Everything worked on offense. But because their defense was so bad, they couldn't freaking win 10 games.
Don't you agree, though, that the offense, at least in the first half of the season, has to keep that defense off the field?
Absolutely. No, there's an extent that riding the bench is right, where if the offense is that much better, they'll help the defense out early. But I don't want to go into the season like saying, the offense, if the offense is good, everything is good. We need that defense to be, I'd say 12th would be my floor if we want to be a Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
Floor.
Here, if that offense, all of a sudden, Xander, if you're 8th this year and you're 12th passing and you're 2 rushing,
right,
you're going to be in the Final Four.
Yeah, I got you riding the bench. I figured that. I've talked to riding the bench on the show, so I figured I kind of knew what you meant once I read it again. Riding the bench. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man. Brian Fleming checking in. He said, Big Z's Bucket Hat Friday with the red shirt looking like Gilligan's Island. I don't even know what that is. And Sill's looking like the skipper. I don't know what that is.
Hey, Brian, let me hook you up with something here, Junior Poles. Hey, Bri, when you make a reference like that, let's not try to make a reference for a 79-year-old guy. Look at who you're talking to. Okay? Try to stay in today. This guy's talking about Gilligan's Island who was on in the 60s. Come on, bro. Where are we going here, guy? This is a progressive show, not old man get off my lawn show. How you doing?
Are you kidding me? This show is fire. Everybody knows. Look, here's Numbnuts Bob Brown. Diddy Brown says $5 to burn that hat. Look like you ride the ice cream truck to school. Bob Brown, the day I take advice from you is the day I'm not here anymore, Bob. Get out of here with that shit, Bob. But thanks for the $5.
Hey, Bob, let me guess. You wear a turban.
No, Bob wears camo hats. That's all he's got. Camo hat, regular T-shirt. That's what he's got.
Bob has a bandana around his head that says,
no, Bob, here's Bob.
Six.
Bob's like the grown adult who goes out to eat with his family and he's wearing like an Eagles jersey. It's like, dude, put the fucking Eagles jersey away. All right. You're out to eat at a steakhouse with your family. You don't need to wear an Eagles jersey, but that's Bob Brown,
Wait a minute. Do you think he has a Deshaun Jackson jersey when he goes out to dinner and wears? Yes or no?
Know. Why Deshaun Jackson?
I don't know. It just seems that Deshaun Jackson would be something from the, about 20 years ago that he would have like on it, like he would wear something like that, a Deshaun Jackson jersey. Okay. He shows up to he goes out to dinner at Fleming's and he's got a Jalen Hurts jersey on. Is that what we're doing here?
I think so.
Hey, Bob, I dig you. You're good. You got great takes. I love that.
No, Bob has shit takes today. Bob, you need a week off because your takes have been in the slammer recently, brother. Not even a good topic brought up. Nothing good, Bob. I mean, come on, brother. Let's go here.
As you can see, Bob, Xander is very, very, very sensitive towards his Rue hats.
No, I'm
when
not.
You go there.
Prince says Sill's favorite bucket hat is literally from KFC, extra crispy with a sign.
Hey, Prince, you know where your favorite hats are from? Okay. Do you know where your favorite hats are from? They're from San Francisco, and they're from the Castro. And that's all I'm going to say.
All right, Prince? Popples a bucket of chicken and puts
and it's red, white, and blue. And it's like rainbow colors.
A bucket of chicken, and he puts the greasy box on his head. Prince, that's a W, brother. That's a W, brother.
I don't even eat that shit. Hello, Cool Xander. That's funny.
Hello, Cool Xander. Thank you, Anthony. Bob Brown again. He says, when you get the ass hairs on your chin to fill in, you can talk.
That's a win.
Bob, shut your mouth, Bob. Okay. Kokorski says, Xander, you cutting grass with that hat. I don't even know what that means. Love the hat, Xander. Looking like a 90s pothead. I like it. I'll take it. Long live the buck, long live the bucket. I think Cody gave me another one. Where's the other one? Yeah. Better than the Kango look. Oh, well, JK. All right. Cody, appreciate you either way, brother.
I like all them lids. I like lids, dude.
Listen, we got that one. I think we got a couple more here. Kokorski says, run the Phillies scrum every single play on the opener.
Hey, Kyle, I would open up the first series and I'd run the Philly special, I'd run the Philly special and I would run the push in the first series just to jam it in everyone's face on national television for people making themselves look like jackasses. It was a stupid argument, Xander. The Eagles aren't great because of that play. Now, I do think that that's an important play in their arsenal, but don't you think it's just one of 6 bullets in the chamber, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, I do think it's a little bit of a big thing. I mean, Jeff Curry.
I do too.
They're going to be better without it. I'm like, I think they would still like to have the play. I mean, that's why their owner pulled out all the stops to keep it, but all right, I digress. Rich says, Paddington Bear Z. Oh, these people's references, dude.
Okay. Hey, Prince, I got a pair of knee pads I'm going to send you. One is Howie and the other one says Nikki. So we'll send those to you very soon. They're inscribed by both your boyfriends. So we're going to get you the professional knee pads. So like when you see Xander at the next parade, you'll be able to walk around on your knee pads.
You hear that, everybody? The next parade.
And you walk around on your knee pads when you're out there on Broad Street.
Even Sileo knows it's inevitable. Even Sileo knows another parade is coming.
In the next 4 years, do I think the Eagles win another Super Bowl? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Won't
you
be
got
this year, though.
Jalen Hurts going to the Hall of Fame.
No, who said he's going to quarter? Who said he's the quarterback?
Oh, you think we're going to win a Super Bowl in the next 4 years and he's not going to be the quarterback?
Who says he's going to be the quarterback?
Oh, you got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. You
Who-
just walked yourself into. You believe?
No,
Wait a second. Not only is Jalen Hurts going to go to Canton, but so is Nick Winiani.
Nick Winiani. He's George Seifert at its finest. George Seifert's got 2 titles. Where's he?
Yeah, let's see.
You know where he is? Palookaville.
Kokorski says, got that one. Kokorski says, biggest running back I ever seen was Jerome Bettis. Man, he was crazy to see play.
He was crazy great too. Everyone thought he ran out of gas after Los Angeles. He goes to the Steelers, ends up winning himself a Super Bowl there. People forget that he was a dominant back with the Rams, but everyone looks at him as a Steeler. Xander, he started his career in Los Angeles, and he was a force out there. Never was going to win. They thought he ran out of gas. That guy ends up going to Pittsburgh, rejuvenate his career. Why? O-line. You know what? That's a pretty good comparison to Saquon. He had a nice career in L.A. He got to Pittsburgh. He had that dynamic O-line. Him going to Pittsburgh helped him get to Canton. Maybe the same thing for Barkley.
Nick Sirianni's better than Seifert, and they haven't won shit since they let Seifert go.
That is a fact. That is a fact. I mean, they have not been a Super Bowl championship team.
And Nick Sirianni is better than Seifert.
Where do you see that? The guy was 108 and 35.
Okay, and I got Nick Sirianni is better. In the modern game, he's going to end up with 3 or 4 Super Bowl rings, and Nick Sirianni will be in Canton.
I saw him on a flight deck on the Carl Vincent, and he was the one that was guiding the planes and going like this.
You
over
love
here,
Nick.
Fly. Here you go. He
love Nick. I really think you love Nick. Like, I don't know about you actually loving Jalen. Like, I think you're honest about Jalen. I think you truly love Nick Sirianni.
I don't know. There's something wrong with him. Every time I think I like him, all of a sudden he does something stupid.
You love Nick.
I don't know.
Sounds like someone else.
He's getting better. Yeah, you know where Nick belongs? Serving a steak at Highlight.
Sometimes I think this show is the best show I've ever heard. Then you come up with some bullshit topic, and I take it back. Right?
Bullshit topic. It's a cheerleader. Hey, you know what? You didn't pay the guy like he was the best coach in the league. You paid him like he was, I don't know, a great coach, a good coach, not a great one.
Musteller says, if Barkley gets another 2K seat, did you read this? Big If Hall of Fame? I think so.
If he gets another 2K, he's going to need, in my opinion. So, Xander, next 3 years, you guys are saying that the next 3 years are going to be indicative of this guy's going to make it to Canton. Are you willing to say that guy's going to survive 1,200 carries? 3 years, 28, 29, 30. Wow.
I think he could.
So you think he's got the same type of makeup and body as Derrick Henry?
No, but I think he could get to that point. I mean, it's obviously a little bit of an uphill battle, but I think if he takes care of his body, if the Eagles continue to manage, him in the weeks, I think he has the chance to do that. I do.
No guy's ever done that before in NFL.
I know. I understand what you're asking him to be. It's hard for him to be that, but I do think he's a freak of nature athletically. And, if he's able to stay healthy, by the way, he's got a great offensive line. I mean, he's got everything he needs. I'd probably recommend him stop jumping over people backward.
That might help.
As awesome as that was, I want to see him healthy more than I want to see that again, but that was an iconic moment.
Hey, did you like my comparison of Derrick Henry and Shaq? Shaq had no jump shot, couldn't shoot free throws, and yet he was 26. He was 26 and 14. Derrick Henry can't juke anybody. He's not that great in pass catching, but I'll tell you what. This year, get this, if he has 1,200 yards, he's 6th all-time in NFL history in rushing. For a second-round draft choice that came out of Bama, that night, I got to keep telling you this, Xander. My wife and I are watching the draft. She went just like this. You draft that guy in the second round? What is wrong with people? My wife, she hangs on to that. She goes like this. She goes, that guy, that draft night, she went, that guy's a top 10 player. He's not a second rounder.
He was insane in college too. I mean,
didn't he jump over somebody too in college? I thought he was that he leapfrogged somebody too on that.
Probably. He was incredible in college, dude. We got a bunch of supers. The guys are killing it today in the chat. We appreciate everybody, man.
Absolutely, man.
Brian
Thank you on this Memorial Day Friday, guys.
Absolutely, man. By the way, I just want to say just a couple words about that, man. Big Monday off. Obviously, it's a real day of memory, especially here at JAKIB. My brother's a veteran. Obviously, I know Sileo's got a lot of ties to veteran. The reason that we sit here and talk about football is because people paid a much bigger sacrifice for us to be able to do it. So we remember all of those people this weekend, and really every weekend, but you know, in a big way this weekend. So thank you all for your service, for those out there who did fight for our nation, for those who have lost loved ones. Brian Pumper says, happy Memorial Day weekend to you all. Enjoy your dirty steaks. Sales, what you cooking up for Memorial Day? Anything good?
I think we're going to go like this. I think I'm going to try to get me a nice little deal on a couple, like 3 lobster legs. Tails, I mean. We'll get 3 tails. We'll get a steak. We'll get some chicken. We'll go to the beach. We'll do this. See, we're not going to take it to because, you know, a lot of people like to take it to we're not doing that. We're going to do it in our backyard probably. My wife's in it. I'm not, by the way, just so you guys know, I'm not allowed around the grill. Because I'm not allowed around the grill.
You can't even grill. I know you can't cook. No. I can't cook either, but I can grill.
No, I almost burned the house down twice. I can't do it. Here's what I did. We had a Traeger. You know those Traeger?
They're expensive too, those things.
No, this thing was given to me. So check it out. Yeah, it was like an endorsement that I had on my radio show, right? So I didn't know what the fuck the pellets were. So the pellets are in there, and I put the pellets.
They got their own pellets, yeah.
Okay. So I sit there, and my wife's like, you know, we had these 3 giant, industrial garbage cans that were plastic. And we had the Traeger up against outside the chimney. So I go out there, and I go, oh, shit, I better clean this out. So I start cleaning they're pellets. Dude, that's wood. So I do this, Xander. I dump it in the garbage cans, and I dump it in the fucking buckets. I'm laying on the couch with my dog. All of a sudden, I'm sleeping, and I look up, and I'm like, holy shit, what's that outside? Boy, somebody's backyard's on fire. I'm looking, I'm like, what the fuck is going on out here? I go out back. My canopy's been burned. All 3 of these industrial garbage cans have melted completely to the surface. I am surprised I didn't like the entire, let alone burn the house down. I'm surprised I did not like the entire neighborhood up.
Stick to sports talk, guy. Stick to sports.
Oh, dude. One other one. So I'm sitting here, and I turned like the gas stove on. This was a year ago, actually. I turned the gas stove on. I'm laying down. My wife was away. I'm not allowed to even do this. I have to order sandwiches and shit. So I'm laying, and I go, my dog's going. I mean, if somebody had lit, like if like Prince lit one of his joints in my house would have exploded. I mean, I go out there, I forgot to turn the fucking thing off. I mean, bro, I'm just not very, I don't know. My daughter says I'm not allowed. I can't even light a candle. They don't even want me to light a candle.
It's funny because that's like the type of stuff I'm so attentive to the details about. Like, I'm not really that type of dude from a macro, but when it comes to like that stuff, I'm so attentive to the details. So that's a tough story.
I know, it's pathetic. I agree.
Yeah,
it's totally
tough,
pathetic.
right?
It's
Prince says KFC bucket for the win. Hashtag winning. Xander is 5-0.
Hashtag knee pads. One's got Nick's face on it, and the other one's got Jalen Hurts' face on it. Hey, you also wear a belt around your waist that says Howie.
And a princess tiara. A princess tiara for Prince.
Right. And he's got a veil.
Prince, you got to clap back harder than that.
Yeah,
Kyle Kokorski, he's checking in. Most people also forget Favre started his career in Atlanta. It's a good pull.
Yeah, he did. And remember what Jerry Glanville said. You know what the NFL stands for, Favre? Not for long.
Yep.
So it turned out to be not for you, not for long, because Favre went on to play 18
Here
years.
we go. JD3 says, Nicky, $19 million future Hall of Famer. Put the statue up.
Nicky, 13.5 over
Nicky
3.
19. That's a great nickname, JD3.
Nicky
19,
Jr.
baby.
Nick Sirianni's making 13.5. I confirmed it yesterday.
Here's East Coast Rico, our newest member. He checks in. He says, thank you for the $5 and the new membership, brother. He says, I only joined to hear Jahan Dotson and J Max say stop it at 8 a.m.
Hey,
I didn't get
John,
enough stoppage from Johnny Mac this week. I got to up my game. I got to get him back off the rails in the morning.
hey, I'll tell you what though, man. Jahan Dotson, are you still pissed off about the third pick, the third round you gave up for him?
No, he made a big catch in the Super Bowl. I got nothing bad to say.
Hey, did you hear what he said?
Dude, Jalen doesn't throw
one
the ball.
fucking catch.
Dude, Jalen doesn't throw the ball to the third wide receiver on the team. He doesn't.
I know he doesn't.
So that's not Jahan Dotson's fault, right?
No, it's not. I saw a quarterback who was a 7th rounder throw for 300 some odd yards, and Jahan Dotson had 100 yards in the game. Yeah, I did see that. I mean, you get your other quarterback in there in the playoff game, he throws for 90 net.
Brian Fleming says Z's hat is better than Jalen's bejazzled sparkly beret at the Met Gala.
I thought he was. Hey, man,
I didn't see that. Was he wearing that?
I thought he looked good at the Met. I think some of those other guys look like weirdos at the Met.
Yeah,
I mean, they were dressed like chicks.
At least Jalen wore a suit, or like tux or whatever he wore. Like all these other, what's that one NFL player? He looked like a doofus.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I
saw a guy in a skirt.
Yeah, it was weird.
Right?
Sills likes Hurts, just hates his style.
Yes. Or I hate how they use him because that would RPO the hell out of him.
No, why? They just won the Super Bowl.
Can I please have Jalen Hurts 22 and Barkley 24? Can I get that together? Why couldn't I have that both? Why couldn't I do both? Why can't they do both? Honestly.
Sills. We cooked up a perfect Italian soup last year.
Really?
Every single page, you
left one ingredient out.
Second, every single guest complimented the chef and said, "Perfect, 5 stars, serve it." And your asshole wants to come in. Wait a second, and you want to come in and change the recipe?
You left one important ingredient out, and you thought, and you got by with not having a main ingredient.
Sileo wants to put a 5-star in the Olive Garden.
No, why can't I? Don't you think you'd be more dominant if you had 22 Hurts and 24 Barkley?
It doesn't work like that.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay.
That's a perfect world. That's a video game world.
Ah, I see. Well, I know it doesn't. It's not going to work because they're never going to put the hands. They're not going to put the offense back in the hands of that toolbox. Or excuse me, Jalen. Go ahead. Caboose.
Kokorski says, that sounds like crap my dad used to do.
Kyle, I'm just not, that Xander's right. If you think Sileo has a burner account or he has like that ain't working. I don't even know what the frig you're talking about with that shit. I have no idea. Burner account. Yeah, that looks like me, doesn't it? Yeah. Xander goes, hey,
Sileo can't barely text messages.
Here's Xander. Hey, dumbass. F10. Or no, F12. Hit it. Dumbass. Hit it, dude. Your volume's out.
I'm nicer to you than that. I don't call you dumbass.
No, you don't. I know.
No, I don't.
Are we done on this shit?
Huh? No, we got more, dude. These people are killing it today. So Prince checks in.
Oh.
He says, Sills, I bet your wife decorated the house with pictures instead of words just so you wouldn't get stuck sounding them out. Need pads those.
That's pretty good.
What do you mean? Who puts words on the wall? Look, I got pictures behind.
Good take. Horrible. Who's your writer, guy? Seriously, because
yo, Prince, you need to hire Brian Pumper, man. He'll get you. He'll get you better.
You're right, Xander. Who puts words on the wall? Ding dong.
Yeah.
Holy cow! There's 4 L's in a row for you, princess. Jesus criminy, man. Have some Sacagawea or something.
All right, here we go. Wait, a couple more. JD3 says Prince is having a Dallas Cowboys summer. Nothing but L's.
Hey, Prince, that's a great take right there by JD3. You're the Dallas Cowboys of the offseason. Massive L's. You're used to that.
Prince, I love you. All right. And I don't think you're the Dallas Cowboys this summer. I think you've had up days and you've had down days, but I do not think you're the Dallas Cowboys, Prince.
Oh, I do.
Nah, I don't.
Actually, you're the Jets.
No,
God.
he's not. Prince has beaten you up this summer.
Oh, yeah, Prince. Yeah,
Yes, he has. Wait a second. The only thing I have against Prince, the only thing I'm holding against you right now is you made one single comment to John McMullen. He put you, he beat the shit out of you like this, and you bent the knee faster than anybody I've ever seen bend a knee. He said, I'm not coming at your neck anymore. I'm not doing it. That's the only thing I'm holding against Prince.
He surrendered?
And instantly. I'm talking the next comment. Surrender.
Man, damn, Prince. Can't fight for yourself anymore? Damn. You sound like Sirianni bending when he has to, like, give up a coach. You and Nick Sirianni. Now I see why you like Sirianni. You're not going to fight for anything either. I got it.
Pretty
You're not fighting for Dallas Goedert. You're not fighting for Brian Johnson. You're not fighting for any of them.
Smart. LOL.
Yeah. How about this? Hey, Prince, you are the Nick Sirianni of the show here because you're not going to fight for anybody. I like it. I'm just going to go along. Anything, anywhere, I'm going to go along. Holy cow, what a
Look at him, Reyes. Live, laugh, love as Sills looks at it confusingly.
What would that be? Your shitty takes every day? Or your absolute horrific.
Dude, come on,
we're still comment. The number one defense until proven otherwise.
Dude, that's a good comment.
Stupid.
That's a funny comment.
He's a dummy, too.
That's a funny comment.
This guy's a dumbass, too. He's a dumbass.
Emrys, that's a W.
He's a dumbass.
Here we go.
Nick Sirianni of losers.
Thank you, William. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you, man. Mikey Shred says, Sileo and Robustelli sounds like the next Philly law firm. That does.
I like that. Hey, Xander, you ready? Speaking of law firm, we're this close to having like a little bit of the use of the Morgan & Morgan corporate suite at Lincoln Financial.
We'll wait till Bob Lang hears. You might not want to say that too loud. Bob Lang will call them so quick and say, you think Dan Sileo's coming into my stadium?
Oh, yeah. When you pay $1.2 million for a fucking suite, you better shut the hell up, Big Bob.
It's true.
Hey,
very true.
They've had the suite for 5 years, so they've given that team $5 million. Hey, Bob, go back to selling perfume.
That's funny. That is great. I think we got one more.
All right.
I was trying to respond. Low says, I have the same one, Zan. Double mesh La Hinch. I thought you would have gotten the pink one. You said you like pink. I do like pink. I'd rock pink. I got a pink hat somewhere. See it back there? It's back there.
Good. It's all good.
Rich says, post-it note, Sills.
Post-it note?
Rich, I told you you're struggling, brother. Kyle Kokorski says, Sileo, you mean Alan Harper. Or Sirianni, you mean Alan Harper. Who the heck is Alan Harper?
I don't know. Kyle, some of these guys have a little bit more, add it a little bit. Appreciate the supers and all. Yeah. And you know what, too? This is what I would do. I would take M. Reyes' stupid ass and Prince's stupid ass and put them in that suite. But here's why I would have a problem with the suite. I'd have to listen to horrific takes for 3.5 hours of a football game, and I don't know if I could take that. I mean, I'd have to listen to guys talking stupid shit at me about how Nick Sirianni is the next George Howard.
You ever been to a game at the Link?
Yeah, I've been to
No. I'm talking about an Eagles game at the Link.
No.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Now, I have.
It's an incredible experience. It really is. The Link is special place.
I've been to an Eagle game at the Vet. I'll tell you what, the Vet is more special than the Link is. Because you had lunatics. You had people you were actually afraid of showing up at the Veterans Stadium.
I know. Chucking them off the top and crap.
Yeah. Hey, dude. There's a reason you had a prison out there.
I know. In the Vet. I think a couple of our people have been there.
I bet you Bob was a warden there.
Yeah, Bob has been in there. Rumor has it he was wearing a lime green bucket hat. That's just what I heard from back in the day. This is what I heard. All right, great stuff, Big Sills. I gotta go.
Hey, dude. again, we're off Monday. Thanks a lot. Again, I
Yeah,
know
man.
how big it is with the military, and I've been fortunate enough my entire life that the military. I enjoy covering. The military. I've been to. You want to, hey, Xander? One quick story in the military, bro. When I was in Tampa doing morning drive, there used to be this cafe on West Shore Drive, and my friend Ted Webb would bring me in, and at the end of the bar there, or we're sitting down having like a bagel, is Norman Schwarzkopf. So I go over and meet General Schwarzkopf. I'm sitting down having coffee with him. And his Central Command was in Tampa at MacDill, right?
Right.
So he goes, does Desert Storm, Desert Shield. Tommy Franks comes in. He's the next general and head of military operations. I have dinner with him. And then my next guy that I became very good friends with, and I talk to all the time, and I'll post something on my Twitter, is General Petraeus. So me and General Petraeus, dude, he used to call me from like Air Force One during the Gulf conflict.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah. All those guys were my friends. General Petraeus is CENTCOM. That's right. I've been there. I've seen the inside workings of our main brain when it comes to our military. And you should see those great men and women who serve our country.
Yeah.
That are there at MacDill. It's insanity, man.
Absolutely.
So thrilled.
You have plans next February.
Yes. I'll be let's see. I'll probably be at the Super Bowl in Santa Clara when the Bills will be taking on the Commanders.
You gotta be kidding me. I know you're not picking the Commanders.
I'm not picking. I'm just saying that sounds about right to me. Bills and Commanders.
No. I booked you a flight already, okay? And you are coming into Philly for the parade next February. Get ready.
Come in there for. I think I want to watch that banner fall.
If somebody throws a tomato at you, I do not claim them.
Oh my God, Xander, have a great week. Congratulations! What a big week it was for the Krause family. You guys adding another.
I'm going to see baby Kennedy tomorrow. I'm excited.
Fantastic. Big Z, love you, man. Thank you so much. And I will talk to you over the weekend.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Love you, Sills. Love you, everybody in the chat. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. And thank you to our great veterans who serve this nation, and for anybody who's lost a loved one at war, overseas, wherever the case may be. Thank you. And we'll remember you extra hard this weekend. Thank you all.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. And again, folks, hey, top of the hour, we're going to talk to our friend Mark Farzetta, and we will get his thoughts on the Sirianni contract and all. But don't forget my great friends at Morgan & Morgan we just talked about. Guys, if you're ever injured in any way whatsoever, it'll be the easiest decision that you'll make is signing up with the number one injury law firm in America. The reason they're number one is because they win. Every single time they see Morgan & Morgan coming, believe me when I tell you, make no mistake about it, they're going to fight for you like they fight for every family across this country. Thousands of attorneys, coast to coast. I talk about Clancy Boland, the guy who's in Philadelphia here, our friend, who's the crime fighter. I like to call him the Morgan & Morgan crime fighter, and his team of people are in Philly. Make sure you guys check out Morgan & Morgan here in town in Philadelphia. But if you're ever injured, do me a favor. Please check out my friends at forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's FOR, thepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sales, please hit the like button. Appreciate it. You guys with all the supers, too. Mark Farzetta is going to join us here in a couple minutes. Also, Merrill Reese is going to join us. That'll be at the bottom of the hour at 5:30 Eastern time. If you can jump aboard with us, you can. I got asked a question this morning from a college football network, the ACC network. And I got asked the question, do I think Bill Belichick's going to win? Of course he's going to win. You know, it's funny how the media are trying to make the guy turn out to be a clown. I don't give a shit what his personal life is. I don't care who he's having sex with, what his political affiliation is. Can that guy win ball games? Does that guy produce great football players? Let me say this to you. Do you think there's any coincidence that Belichick, and I've said this before, has coached the greatest offensive and defensive football players in pro football history? This guy coached Tom Brady, and he coached Lawrence Taylor. End of story. He's won 8 championships. I don't care what his girlfriend is. That has no bearing on whether or not he can get my kids in the National Football League. That has zero bearing. Nobody cares. Dude, if Bill Belichick is dating some 24-year-old hot chick, and I'm a high school kid, you know, and I've asked this, would you send your kid there? I'm not looking at Bill Belichick to be some father figure to me. That's my job. That's my job. Okay? That's my job as dad to be that role model. I tell people this all the time. Hey, I love my coach. My role model was my grandpa. Plain and simple. He was a no shit guy. He was, there was no gray area with him. It either was this or that. Yin and yang. And that's how my pop was. I say this all the time to people. You know, I don't ever remember my grandfather ever telling me he loved me. You know what I do remember? showing it every day to me. You know? I mean, it's funny. My wife is a lot like that. My wife will say this to me because I'm stupid and, you get insecure at times. You say shit like this. Do you love me? My wife goes, really? It's 38. It's 38 years. Come on, dog. Where we going? And you're like, right? I've never asked that question again. It's 38 years. Okay? See this right here with Abe? Watch this. Belichick had that girl at his game when Mac Jones was the quarterback. It ain't young enough for Bill. She just turned 20. Who cares? Dude, I'm not a moralist. I don't pass judgment on people I don't know. I don't know who he is, what he does. I just know he's a football coach. How in the world do people at the end of the day pass judgment on people you've never met? I never got that ability in how people, like if you go on social media, holy shit. Or like some people will say something about me or my kid or my wife or what have you. And I'm like, how would you know any of this? You don't. So it's why it doesn't bug me. It used to bug me a lot when I was stupid and getting started. Now I'm like, I don't really give a shit about that. I don't. Sills, my 5-month-old son, Braxton, has finally adjusted his nap time so he can watch your show with Dad. He's a huge, big Sills fan. How you doing? Chip, that's awesome. Thank you very much. Well, we'll tell your little 5-month-old son one thing here. Okay? Just remember this. If he's a Philadelphia Eagle fan, okay, nothing is a certainty. No matter if you sign a contract like Nick Sirianni, that guy could be the GOAT in, let me see, in about 28 Mark Farzetta minutes. That guy could be a donkey. He's either going to be the GOAT or a goat's ass. Always remember, in Philly, there's one little rule here, Braxton. When you have it in Philly, ready? Hey, you're only as good as the last game. Ask Bryce Harper. Hey, Harper, you're a bum. Wait a minute. This guy's one of the best. He's a bum. He's sitting. He can't even hit his body weight. Try to hit the Philly area code. Hey, can you hear it now? Hey, Embiid, you're a bum. He won the MVP 2 years ago. I don't care. That's what makes that city so great. I appreciate them too. By the way, Angelo Cataldi was on the other day. And again, I always want to get Farzetta matchup because it's like Paisan Alley when we do this here. And I always want him. And by the way, he's a wonderful dad. This is what he says to me. He never does this. He says, I'm doing too much shit. I got a lot of stuff. You know what he says? Man, I got my kid over here. I got to, and that's great, man. To me, hey, when you're Italian, you're kind of, that's kind of who you are a little bit here. But now I'm going to ask him before we bring him up. So I brought this up to Xander. Jim Irsay got a lot of kudos, and God rest his soul. Peyton Manning said he was the most significant man in football history in Indianapolis. He made football in a basketball state fashionable professionally. Who do you think Mark Farzetta will say is the face of the Philadelphia Eagles in the Jeffrey Lurie era? Who is the one guy that you think personifies that guy when you think of Philadelphia Eagle football? Since that owner has owned the team, what is it, 95? Like that, right? He bought the team from Norman Brayman, 95, 96, somewhere in there where he got control. Who's the one guy you think Farzetta will say, for him, covering the team all these years, is the face of the Philadelphia Eagles? Let's bring him up now.
Wow.
And get his thoughts here on that.
Wow. That's a great question.
All the years you've been covering the team.
If I had to pick one guy?
One guy.
It's funny. The guy that jumps to mind now is Jason Kelce, but he's the face of so many other things now. Like, I don't think people just associate him with the Philadelphia Eagles anymore, even if he is arguing on behalf of the Eagles with the tush push, Brian Dawkins, but as much as you love Doc, you've won 2 Super Bowls since Doc's been here, and he only played in 1. McNabb's another name that comes to mind, and then that quickly goes out of the mind. Jalen Hurts has played in 2 Super Bowls. I mean, Nick Foles, you could certainly talk about. It's interesting. I was just having this conversation just about the power of Jeffrey Lurie. Like, if you would have told me 10 years ago that Jeffrey Lurie was going to be now the most beloved owner in Philadelphia sports, I would have said you're crazy, absolutely nuts. But that's kind of what it's become. He's become very much his own face of ownership in the city of Philadelphia in general. Howie Roseman obviously been a very public figure over that time. If I sound like I'm buying time because I want to land on the right answer, I am. But I'd say right now, the face of the Philadelphia Eagles organization is Jalen Hurts. I think that is the face. And I also think that there's a little bit of a love affair between him and Jeffrey Lurie. Like, Jeffrey Lurie said the most incredible thing I've ever heard an owner say about a player. And he said it about Jalen Hurts shortly before they signed him to the extension. And that was, Jalen Hurts as a player has a phenomenal dedication to perfection. And I thought, I don't think I've ever heard anything nicer, more respectful said from an owner to a player ever before. And talking about a guy who's played in 2 Super Bowls now, he's won a Super Bowl, he's been a Super Bowl MVP. I would go Jason Kelce had it not been for all the things that he's doing right now throughout media. If I'd say a face of the franchise, I would go with Jalen Hurts over anybody else.
I picked Lane Johnson. Here's why. I picked Lane because he's been in all the Super Bowls except for 2. He's been in 3, right? 04 he wasn't in, and he wasn't in the 81.
Yeah, 3 of the 4, yeah.
3, okay?
3 of the 5. 3 of the 5 appearances, I guess.
3 of the 5, right. 3 of the 5 Super Bowls. He's won 2 of them. He's been under different regimes. And would we not agree in the back end of that 30-year ownership that these last 15 years have been arguably the most successful years for Jeffrey Lurie, have been the last 15? And who's been really a catalyst in that last run, the last 10 years? It's seemingly Lane. You make a transition from Doug, he's there. You're now with Nick, he's here. I mean, and his level of play has never like waned. And would you not agree? The face of the way that the Eagles win is based in that old line. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Miles Sanders. It doesn't matter if it's DeAndre Swift. It doesn't matter who it is. That offensive line has been the catalyst, just like the Cowboy teams. When you think of the Cowboy teams, you think of Emmett and you think of that old line. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what you think of now in a way with that. I don't think of Troy Aikman with that. He won 3 Super Bowls.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
I think right now that old line, because you've had so many different faces, I don't know. I just pick Lane because
he's a great one. He's a great one. What's interesting though, if you're talking about talking about players, absolutely. I think Lane. I think of Jalen Hurts, but the face of the Eagles organization, if you really had to nail it down,
is Howie.
It's Howie Roseman.
It is.
It's incredible. The fact that he was banished from the land, with Chip Kelly, and then a miracle happened. He came back better than ever. There is only one comparison in Philadelphia sports to Howie Roseman, and you know who it is? It's Bernie Perrant. And it's not even football. It's hockey. Bernie Perrant was a Flyer. Then he wasn't. He came back. He was incredible and won 2 Stanley Cups. Like, that's the only comparison in all of Philadelphia sports that there is.
Great reference.
I mean, but you even go back, not to go hockey again, but I mean, you go hockey with Bobby Clark, was the GM again. They went to a Stanley Cup, but they didn't win it. That's really the only real comparisons that you can talk about. Like, if Dallas Green in baseball would have went to the Cubs, come back and won again, that would be the other comparison, but he still won here in Philadelphia. So it's a wild thing to think about somebody that was here, didn't necessarily do well, and Dallas Green obviously did well when his first go around, and then come back and be even better. Yeah. And that the only comparison is Bernie Perrant when you're talking about the field of people that have been on the Philadelphia sports scene. And Howie,
Great take.
Absolutely. He's the guy you think about. Like, even when you talk about Nick Sirianni, even when you talk about Jalen Hurts, I still think that they absolutely drafted Jalen Hurts not because they were a quarterback factory, but because they wanted to replace Carson Wentz. They weren't putting all their eggs in one basket anymore on Carson Wentz after he got bounced out of the playoffs. So I look at Howie Roseman as the guy that's, I hate to use the word puppet master or the term puppet master, but he's the guy pulling all the strings. Jeffrey Lurie's cutting the checks and empowering Howie, and Howie's the guy pushing all the right buttons to the point where you lose two guys in your front office and you're like, yeah, no big deal. I'll just bring back the other guy that helped me win a Super Bowl, my first Super Bowl, and Joe Douglas. It's amazing. The face of the organization is also the guy, and I'm sure you've seen this story, the most valuable Philadelphian.
I saw that.
Howie Roseman.
And he gets a key.
He gets a key to the city. Go figure.
I got it here, man. Hey, let me expand on one last question before I get to Nick here. If you had to pick the most signature moment in Jeffrey Lurie's era of owning the team, and I'm doing this because, again, all the comments that have been made by folks about Jim Irsay and what he did to Indianapolis, because there's no question, like you said, Jeffrey Lurie has brought a different dynamic to winning in the Super Bowl era. You know, I know I'm not going back to the 60s and what have you, but I'm just talking about in the Super Bowl era. If you had to pick a Super Bowl performance for you that will always resonate, will it be Foles' Super Bowl performance, or will it be Jalen Hurts' Super Bowl performance?
Nothing beats the first one. Nothing beats the first one. Running Philly special, Doug Peterson going along with it. I mean, I'll never forget.
I think that's one of the greatest moments in Super Bowl history.
Oh, absolutely.
Even before I started covering the team, when that guy's got all those papers like this, Mark, I've told you this, and that guy walks over and he just casually says, Philly, Philly, and he goes, run it. And I went, holy shit. When I saw that will always resonate with me on how that guy, it was so not analytics.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Like, hey, I'm getting a plain and pepperoni. Is that? Yeah, okay. Like, there was nothing to it. There was nothing to it. It was just, let's do it. Like, we're in the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots.
Brady.
Why not? Exactly. Why not? What the hell? What do we have to lose? You know, we're not supposed to win this game. Let's pull out all the stops. And they pulled out all the stops. And it was fantastic. And, not just that. I mean, Zach Ertz played phenomenal in that game. Corey Clement played phenomenal in that game.
BG strip sack,
obviously, and Derek Barnett. The only good thing he did in Philly was jump on that at the right time. It was absolutely amazing. And that was the first one. Like, I'll say this, I remember coming back because I was in Minnesota working the broadcast behind the scenes because I was an NBC broadcast. And I'll never forget coming back to Philly, landing at the airport and then seeing everyone in their Eagles attire. And I'm not afraid to admit it at all. I probably unleashed 2 or 3 tears because as a guy that grew up here, I thought of my older family members, my older friends that weren't for it, weren't around for it. My cousin Joey was a 700 level season ticket holder, and I thought of him, and he had passed away a couple of years before the Super Bowl. And I think a lot of us shed those tears in Philadelphia because we thought about the people that weren't there to embrace it. Ray Didinger. I mean, one of the most beautiful moments I've ever witnessed is Ray Didinger getting hugged by his son Dave, who I know pretty well also, on the set. And if that wasn't what many fathers and sons did while sharing the same sentiment of, this is for Pop, that kind of thing, that's a beautiful thing. And the fact that the Eagles won with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and that defense and all that was great. And that is amazing, but nothing will beat the first one. And that's the moment that I think the Philly special, seeing Nick Foles with his hands up in the air, catching that pass from Trey Burton. And then the stories that have come out ever since then about Trey Burton, when he was with Chicago, they wanted to run the play against the Eagles. And he said the night before, he couldn't sleep. It was too much anxiety. He said, I can't do it. And he told Nagy he couldn't do it. And he didn't do it. But that moment of Foles with the hands in the air just about before he catches that ball was the most, that was the moment that I think a lot of people just went, holy hell, we're going to win this game. And I'll tell you a quick story. When I was on the truck for NBC for that game, a guy that I worked with, there was 3 Philly guys that could all see each other on the truck. And it was 2 ends. It was one guy far at the other end of the truck, Jake, and my boy Kevin, who is in the front row working the replays, and I'm on a machine that's basically just running plays back and forth for Chris Collinsworth. And that play happens. Kevin Brownie jumps up. And he's like, "Oh my God!" And he turns and looks at me. I'm like, "Oh my God!" And I turn and I look at Jake down the other end, and he just mouths to me because he can't yell where the producer and the director are. He just yells, "Oh my God!" And we're all just looking at each other like that was incredible, and then right back to work. But it was just one of those moments I'll never forget. The look on Kev's face, the look on Jake's face, and I'm sure I look like a big dumb idiot too. But that was just the moment that he went, "Wow, this was of all the times we have waited for something miraculous in a Super Bowl, this could be the night," and it was.
Boy, man, that spoke with so much passion. I mean, I've said this, and I love that shit, Mark. I do. I mean, I think, not every place is going to have that kind of emotion like that. In my lifetime covering sports, it's been 40 years now, I can only think of 3 cities that really impacted, where you're talking about family, your dad, your father not seeing a championship. It's Boston and Chicago when the Cubs won the World Series and the Red Sox won the World Series for the first time in 90 years. And for the Eagles, when they won that championship. No disrespect to the Flyers, the 2 titles, the 83 76ers title, the 68 title. No disrespect to that. It just seemed to me that I can't tell you how many Eagle fans that told me, I was like, I went to a gravesite. I went to Jerome's gravesite, Brooksville, and I laid like flowers down, and I said, "We did this for you, Jerome." And I'm going like, holy cow, people still remember Jerome like that.
Oh yeah.
They were laying wreaths and they were laying flowers on his grave when you guys won the Super Bowl in 17, because it's right around his birthday. And there were so many flowers. People were calling me, "Have you seen this?" And I'm like, holy cow. So I could just imagine what that must have felt like in that city at that time. It was a different vibe, wasn't it? The 17 vibe versus last year was a different vibe, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's the moment we were all waiting for. I'm a 6 for 6 guy in Philly. I'm not just a 4 for 4 guy. I'm a 6 for 6 guy, But when you talk about the Eagles winning, that's the top notch. Like I watched the Phillies win the World Series in 2008, and I just couldn't believe that actually happened. Like, wait, hold on a second, because I was born in '82, Sills. Like,
so you missed the '80 title. You missed the '80.
I told you this before. My dad doesn't like to say that I'm named after Mark Ivoroni, but he likes to say that my name was inspired by Mark Ivoroni because he was acquired. He was acquired in August. I was born in September, and he just liked the idea of an Italian playing for the Sixers, and he liked his name with a C. So there you go. Anyway, I never experienced a championship. They won. The Sixers won. I was like 8 months old or whatever I was, and I never experienced it. Nothing. My family didn't care about Villanova winning in '85. Nobody cared about that. But when the Phillies won in 08, I was like, oh my God. And I remember thinking 2 things. I remember thinking my dad really undersold how great the parades were for the Flyers in the 70s. He undersold what it was like to have the parade in 80 for the Phillies and what the parade was like in 83 for the Sixers. Like, that's it. Like undersold drastically. And then I remember thinking, because it was so amazing to be there on Broad Street, which I was. I remember I was on the Union League ledge overlooking Broad Street, and Pat Burrell comes down, puts his hands in the air. Everyone goes bananas. And I remember that. And then I remember thinking, okay, this is great. But man, if the Eagles win this, if the Eagles ever win this, this will be incredible. And there we were 10 years later. The Eagles won, and I was right in front of the Art Museum steps for every second of it. And one of the things that I thought was so great, to go on to the point about, generations teaching each other. I remember walking up the Parkway, and I remember a father and son holding hands, and the son could not have been more than 7 years old. Like, he was a little kid, and the son had a number 60 Kelly Green jersey on for Chuck Bednarik. And I remember thinking, I mean, you really do. I mean, I don't know how it is with your, I'm sure it's very similar with, your Sicilian family, my Calabrese family, but it's like, our family members never die. They live on in stories.
Absolutely. And I tell people this, Mark, the only thing that we don't have now is the tears. We have the great memories.
Oh my God. And I remember thinking that father and son, I remember thinking that father is too young to have watched Chuck Bednarik. His father had to tell him about Chuck Bednarik. No way that kid knew Chuck Bednarik, but he knows about Chuck Bednarik. It's beautiful thing. Beautiful thing.
You know, the only thing I remember about that '08 series, because I was in Tampa at the time covering it, is those freaking freezing cold games in Philly. I mean, they had to have been some of the coldest baseball games. Am I wrong? Am I right when I remember? They were like,
chilly.
One of them was like they had a rain out in the whole thing. The thing was like,
Yes.
I froze my back.
Game 5 had a halftime. Sales.
Yes.
Game 5 had a halftime that was a day long. I think it was a day or 2 days long, a day and a half. And
so
Jimmy
cold.
Rollins had the Elmer Fudd hat on. They all had the Elmer Fudd, whatever it is. They all had the flappy ears, and it was rainy. It was cold. It was terrible.
Man.
Absolutely terrible. And the feeling in Philly at the time was, oh yeah, of course we're going to win a World Series, but they're going to make us wait a couple days. You know, it's going to be the worst weather ever. But yeah, that was bonkers how cold it was.
Oh my! You know what's funny is I became friends with Roy Halladay, who lived in he lived in Orlando, right? And when I got a chance to become, you talk about one of the absolutely coolest dudes I ever knew, and what a heartbreaking story. I mean, you talk about one of the greatest games I've ever seen pitched. Is that, like, what was it? A perfect game he threw?
No hitter in the postseason. Perfect game. Perfect game.
It's the Cardinals
in Miami. Perfect game.
Miami.
The Reds was the no hitter. He threw a no hitter.
The Reds was the no hitter. That's right.
Yeah. Joey Votto called timeout on him last second a couple of times in that game. And Roy Halladay was like, told him at the next All-Star game, I was going to kill you.
Hey, I love that.
Yeah, I love it too. It's great.
Let me go here with you now. I talked to Howard Eskin yesterday. And then I also talked with Angelo and some people that are friends of mine, friends of yours that are in the organization. Now, until this comes out, I'm landing on 3 years, $13.5 million.
A year?
That does not make him one of the top 5 coaches in the National Football League. Now, does that matter, Mark? I mean, at the end of the day, his resume, I'm told, is the greatest or the 4th greatest of all time. My question to you would be, you know, they doubled his pay from $6 million. It's not like this guy didn't get a tremendous bump. However, don't you think Jeffrey Lurie takes great pride in this? Well, I've never had a losing coach since I've owned a team, as a record-wise. Look at the assistant coaches that I've hired that have gone on to become head coaches. Look at the general managers that I've had with Joe Banner and with Howie Roseman. Don't you think he takes great pride? And even in that press release, Mark, and I know I'm setting the question up for you here, and I'm leading you to where I want you to go, but I don't think you're going to go here.
Objection.
You're right, exactly. I'm doing a soliloquy here a bit. However, if they thought he was the most important person in the building, they'd have paid him the most money. Now, until that's official, I thought it was weird. Got an extension. Well, shit, Mark, we knew they were going to do that. They didn't want to tell us, and they didn't want to tell us the amount of years, because to me, they don't want to let you know what they really think of him. I'm not saying they don't like him, but surely they think more of Howie Roseman than they do when it comes to Nick Sirianni. How did you see that contract when they weren't giving you any particulars?
Yeah.
We knew they were going to extend them. And by the way, no one had the balls to have the follow-up question in the pit there to ask, hey, Nick, I mean, this is how coaches are evaluated on what you make and how important you are. I don't care how much he makes, Mark. I want to know what they think of him. How did you take that?
Well, what I saw was Eskin's tweet that he was told the Eagles gave him a salary that was nicely, that was the word, nicely
above $10 million.
Yeah, but the word that was used by Howard was nicely past 10 million. And I was like, nicely past 10 million? Like, how about nicely past 15 million for the resume?
You saw it like I did.
Yes, because Ben Johnson just got $13 million from the Bears. Are you kidding me? And Nick Sirianni's getting 13.5.
Liam Cole got 11.5.
Here's what I think it comes down to. The Eagles understand what Nick Sirianni is. And they feel like what Nick Sirianni is, although I disagree, is replaceable. They feel like, look, if you're giving a guy $13 million, I don't give a damn what his first paycheck was, okay? If that's what he's amassed for you in the 4 years, playoffs every year, 2 Super Bowl appearances, a Super Bowl championship, you only have one other Super Bowl championship. Oh, and by the way, you're running it back with this offense. I'm going to go ahead and say that he deserves more than $13.5 million. But the Eagles' perspective is, hold on, Kellen Moore did a hell of a job. He's not here anymore. I think that's the way they also look at it.
That's right.
I think they also look at it as we're paying Jeff Stoutland coordinator money to be a offensive line coach, and that bears a hell of a lot of fruit. And that's where we invest in the trenches. No better way to show that other than players than with the coach that provides the players to always reach their best possible or highest ceiling. And then you're also paying Vic Fangio, I think, $4.5 million a year to be your defensive coordinator. That's not cheap for a defensive coordinator. So there is money allocated for coaches here that is distributed as the Eagles see fit. And I think what they're paying their head coach is a low ball payment. And that is acknowledging all the ups and downs, all the faults of Nick Sirianni. But bottom line is, year in and year out, he has his team ready to play football. And this team has his back. And I've talked to plenty of players throughout the years that don't give a damn who their head coach is. They don't give a damn about the coordinator. They're playing for them. They're playing for old number one themselves. Nick Sirianni, I don't know what magic he's got, but these players play for this guy. And he might do things from the flower power speech to the T-shirts to dress it up like Jalen Hurts for Halloween. It hits with these players. And when you talk about controversy going through last season of what the relationship was between him and his quarterback, well, let's not forget that you go into training camp and Jalen Hurts literally could not say something nice about his head coach.
Nothing.
Then you come out of the bye week, Sills, out of week 5.
2-2.
Oh, my God, c'est la vie. We're having sleepovers and watching movies together. All of a sudden, they're on the same page. It's and I hate to use this term because I made fun of it so much, but Jeffrey Lurie, this is what he's looking for, emotional intelligence. Nick Sirianni is a Rhodes Scholar in emotional intelligence. And I know that might be tough for some people to admit, but that is the God's honest truth. He's a Rhodes Scholar when it comes to emotional intelligence. That is one of the prerequisites of being the head coach of the Eagles. With all that being said, acknowledging what they're paying coordinators, acknowledging what they're paying Jeff Stoutland, $13.5 million for a two-time NFC champion, one-time Super Bowl champion head coach is a low ball offer. And I'm shocked it's south of $15 million.
Me too. But I would also say this to you. I don't have a problem with people going like this, what you just said. Well, I want to pay Vic. I want to pay Jeff. And I also want to pay Howie. I mean, if I'm going to pay anybody and make him the highest paid general manager in North American sports, it's that guy. If I want to make a statement, don't you make the statement? Nick Caserio makes $7 million. He's the highest paid coordinator, or he's the highest paid general manager in football. Don't you make the statement with the GM going, if I'm going to pay a guy north of $10 million and I'm going to make him the highest paid general manager in all sports, that's the kind of thing you stand on a hill with and go, that's the architect. Remember, he's the architect. Okay? I mean, Nick's not the builder. He's kind of like, he's not the builder. Howie is. Don't you ever? I don't have a problem with that dynamic in that building. It may be unconventional, Mark, but that's how they're winning.
I've used the term with you before, guidance counselor. He's the guidance counselor. You know what I mean? It's like Jeffrey Lurie is the principal, the president of the school. And then Howie Roseman's the principal. And then you have the really nice guidance counselor, Nick Sirianni, who kind of knows how to organize everything. So
wait, Big Dom paddles him when he's out of hand on the sideline?
Oh, he's the disciplinarian. Yeah, he's the disciplinarian.
Oh, so he's the father, right? Or like the nun that whacks you with the paddle, right? Is that the guy?
Yeah. He's in my school, it was Brother Jerome. At Archbishop Wood High School in Warminster, it was Brother Jerome that was the disciplinarian. Big Dom is Brother Jerome. He's the guy you don't mess with. I had
Sister Marjorie Fish, and every time they used to do it over the loudspeaker, Dan Sileo, please report to Sister Marjorie Fish's office. And I go in there, and I'm going to tell you, she had guns the size of Dwayne Johnson. And she walked in there, and I remembered and I was telling the story the other day, she used to drill holes in her paddle. And I was like, why do you have holes in your paddle? So you can hear the wind when it hits your keister. And boy, when I'll tell you what, I thought bees bit me after there were always three gigantic whacks. And of course, I broke one of the paddles. And hey, I don't know. Hey, Mark, I think it was because I didn't wear my tie that day.
Oh,
so because I always wear my tie around my head. By the end of the day, I just got, I believe, can you imagine me? I had to wear a tie every day to school.
I was there too, man. If I had to do it, I can imagine you doing it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And my generation just missed the generation of getting hell beat out of you. I mean, Mr. Duffy would, if you weren't wearing your sweater at Archbishop Wood, he'd pop you in the chest, like give you. I'll say this: it wasn't a love tap. It wasn't a love tap, but it was a little bit more than it was a little bit more than let me get your attention. And then Sister Stanislaus, okay, she would just make you feel guilty as hell. She would make you feel because they didn't hit you anymore. They would just make you go like, oh wow, I'm gonna burn in hell because I didn't cross my T on my first grade test. You know what I mean? That was Sister Stanislaus's, and she lived to be like 113 or something like that. It was crazy. I remember one comedian used to use the line, "The nuns knew so much about Jesus because they hung out with Jesus." That was one of my favorites.
Hey, I'm very disappointed in you. Brand new Pope from Nova, and you didn't give a shit that they won in '85. Very, very disappointed. By the way, I'll just say this to the new Pope. I don't care you're from Chicago. That's not going to help the Bears. Last one for you here. Ready?
Yeah.
Outside of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
In 2025, Kevin Petula has to get the ball in the hands more with AJ, or do you want to see it back with Barkley? Now, if you go Barkley and you want him to get another $2,000, Mark, that's 800 carries in 2 years.
No,
want him to duplicate that.
Sills, this is my number one ask. My number one ask is give me a middle of the road passing attack. In terms of usage, like efficiency was great last year. It was great. But I don't want Saquon Barkley to have 482 touches again. All right. I want the passing game to take some of that responsibility. So here's my theory on that. Yeah, obviously Petullo's got to call that, but at the same time, is Dallas Goedert signing a contract extension with the Philadelphia Eagles? I don't think he's signing a contract extension with the Philadelphia Eagles.
No.
They're going to give him the DeMarco Murray treatment, I think, from the Dallas Cowboys. Like, we know we're not re-signing him, so just give it to him 420 times. Touches, give him 420 touches, and then we'll just let him out into the wild. And then Chip Kelly was like, I'll scoop him up, and that obviously was terrible. But I feel like this year they're really going to hone in on Dallas Goedert. I feel like that's going to be a key target to get the touches away from Saquon. I'm not saying abandon the run. No. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying let's spell Saquon Barkley because historically speaking, it has not worked. Derrick Henry, it's worked. Are there freaks of nature like that? You keep feeding him. He's great. Could you obviously do that with Saquon? You obviously could. But you have all these weapons around. Use those weapons. Look, 2000 would be amazing to get that for Saquon Barkley. I see the Super Bowl championship with him. I don't care about the 2,000 yards anymore. So for me, it's all about just getting back to that dance floor again and then providing yet another parade to the city of Philadelphia.
Let me sneak another one in on you. This will be the last one, I promise.
Go for it.
Barkley's, I get asked this question about Saquon Barkley in Hall of Fame. You know, the New York Giants completely destroyed that opportunity, I thought, for him. However, you know, I mean, he's like 87th in rushing right now all time. I mean, New York, he's totally a Hall of Fame talent. You see it. There's no way. Bo Jackson was a Hall of Fame talent. Unfortunately, he never fulfilled the prophecy because he was not on a very good football team and he got hurt. He gets 1,800 yards. They go back to the Super Bowl. They win it. And what does he have to do over the next 3 years to kind of erase a little bit of what people saw him in New York? Because he never lived up to the number 2 draft pick. However, Mark, they failed him.
Yeah, they failed
him by putting a team around him. Is it too late, in your opinion, to carve out a Hall of Fame career for himself? Or do you think, again, I mean, he's entering now. He's 28 years old, and he's got to probably do everything he needs to do if he wants to make that call in 4 years with the Eagles. Do you think he's still got some time?
I do. I think enough people know that the Giants did him dirty. Yes. And I think people know what a talent he was. I mean, I remember thinking when he was in New York, like, you just get him a decent offensive line, and this guy's going to be, you know, a top 3 running back in the NFL. He turned out to be the best running back in the NFL last year with the Jeff Stoutland offensive line in front of him. He stays healthy, then obviously you could really do some amazing things with him. And last year was all of that coming to fruition. I grew up in the era, and I think we've talked about this before, I grew up in the era of Barry Sanders, you get him an offensive line, and oh my goodness, you put Barry Sanders in Dallas with that offensive line, and oh my goodness, this is that. This is Saquon Barkley behind that Dallas offensive line. This is the Barry Sanders if he had Dallas's offensive line. You get the record, including the postseason for rushing yards. You get a Super Bowl championship. And you get a guy that even though you're limiting to whatever it was, 2.2 yards per carry in the Super Bowl, the Kansas City Chiefs are all like, yeah, to hell with that. Just stay on the offense, stay on the line. Stop Saquon Barkley no matter what. Do not let him beat you. And Jalen Hurts is like, all right, thanks. I'll beat you. And that's how it worked out. So, yeah, I look at it as I think the rest of the league will know if he has a solid year this year, solid year next year. I don't think he needs another 2,000, close to 2,000 yard season, but just 2 more years of that. Of similar consistency and winning in the postseason, not necessarily getting 3 more Super Bowls, but I think you're absolutely looking at a Hall of Fame running back. I mean, the case can be made now for what he's been able to do. I think he solidifies that case in 2 years.
Absolutely. All right, so Memorial Day weekend, Farzetta has on the grill this weekend. See, here, I'm gonna put probably some lobster tails on.
Okay.
I'll probably maybe have a piece of grouper, some chicken,
Treat
something
yourself.
in that room there,
Yeah.
gotta have the ranch beans. I'm a ranch beans guy. I don't know. Don't worry. My wife, she's it's all right. With the bean. So, I mean, I know that we'll have the Italian salad. We'll have the antipasta and all this. I gotta always have something in there. What does Mark Farzetta have during the Memorial Day weekend?
I ranch beans? I don't understand.
I don't know.
What are ranch beans?
Are
they like ranch flavored? Or are they like out on the ranch beans? Like they're just a different way to say.
They're like the baked beans kind of thing.
Baked beans.
Yeah, baked beans. I don't know. That's a white guy. I don't talk like white guys. I'm an Italian, So I understand you not understanding that because I don't really either. I mean, my grandmother used to go like this: go to the store and get American bread. And I go, what's American bread? And she goes, Wonder Bread. That's an American bread. I go, oh, okay, that's American bread.
Yeah.
So I get it. So I mean, this is kind of like, this is have like an American meal during Memorial Day weekend.
We'll definitely do the burgers. One of my favorite things in the world is grilled hot wings. Like I love grilling wings. They're like penne pasta to me. I could eat that all day and not get full. Like I just love it. I absolutely love it. So wings, we'll do burgers. My kids love hot dogs, so we'll do the hot dogs. It'll probably, with the exception of like a pesto that I'll make to go over like a little mozzarella balls. I'll do that. I'll do something like that because the basil is just plentiful right now in the garden, so we'll put that over some mozzarella, some pine nuts, and I'll make the typical pesto. It's a nice, refreshing summer snack. So we'll do that. That'll probably be the most Italian thing that I'll do on Memorial Day. Everything else will be good, hard. By the way, one of the best things about that Pope, by the way, I love that it was one of the shortest conclaves ever. And they're just like, get me an American. Get me an American. I need an American in here. I love that. So, yeah, it'll be a very American
and he's a White Sox fan. How could you be a Pope and a White Sox fan? That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, my favorite thing about this Pope, forget anything with Villanova. My favorite thing is this guy's got, 2 brothers?
Yeah,
that he's close with. They're just like, your brother's now the Pope. Like what? Like the 2 guys, Southsiders from Chicago, now have an inn at the Vatican. Like that is, there's something about that is just so funny to me.
I'm sure you've been in Chicago. There's a place called Rush Street where they have all the bars up there. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
The dude rolls in there at the bar. He goes, "Hey, give me a shot in a beer here. Hey, by the way, my brother's the Pope. Everybody, hey, free drinks on the house. So you think his brothers get free drinks in Chicago because his brother's the Pope?
Well, not in Wrigleyville.
Oh yeah, no,
everywhere else.
I saw Wrigley congratulate the guy, but they're trying to kind of gravy train off the White Sox because I heard he's a White Sox fan. I mean, I've seen him at White Sox.
He was at the 05 series. They have a shot of him in the stands.
Yeah, there were pictures of him in the stands.
Yeah, one of the brothers had to tip. One of his brothers had to have tipped him off that. Oh yeah, we were at game whatever it was, the World Series. That was the Aaron Rowan World Series before he got traded to the Phillies. White Sox and I'm blanking on the other. It was the drop third strike World Series with AJ Przinsky.
Is it that World Series that all 4 pitchers that when they won that series, didn't they go 9 or 8 2/3? Like the starters were like off.
Maybe.
Is that a Bobby Thick? Was that Bobby Thickpin's? Was
Oh
that
my
his?
God.
Wasn't he the closer for that for Bobby?
I
Thickpin
think you're
was
right.
the closer?
I think you're right. Yeah, I think the AJ Brzezinski dropped third strike. I think that was the ALCS. Excuse me. I think that was leading up to the World Series.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Pope was there. Pope just hanging out.
And he's a Paisan, which is outstanding.
Yeah, they originally thought he was Northern. I know you must have been offended because they just found out that his blood is Sicilian. His Italian blood is.
Yeah, I was very, I was like, I'm very happy to hear all the things that, this guy, and then he speaks English. He's like, these things are really great. How do you feel about it, Pope being an American now?
Again, like I said, I love the idea that it was such a short conclave, and they were just like they was shut. So like they had Italian popes forever, and then they had Pope John, who was Polish. Then they had Pope Ratzinger, Benedict the 16th. I was actually at a mass with him in Germany many years ago, and then they had the Italian Argentinian, obviously, and Pope Frank, who just passed away.
Pope Francis.
So I was like, wow, are they getting closer? Like, are they getting further away from the Italians? And then they got Pope Francis.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, there's no way they were going to go with a non-Italian Pope. And he's kind of, he's Argentinian, but he's got Italian ancestry. And then when they went American, I was shocked because I was betting on that Pizza Boli guy.
Yeah, me too.
Just because one day I wanted to pray to a Saint Pizza Boli, and unfortunately that didn't work out. But they get the American. The fact that it was so quick and you just got to, again, I can't get over it. Like, I know guys from Chicago. I don't know anybody from Argentina.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody.
That's what I said. I know a ton of people. Hey, Mark, I was an altar boy for the Pope.
Oh, that's right. In New York.
John Paul II.
Yeah.
Came to Yankee Stadium, and my school, if you Google it, Stanford Catholic, we were invited. I got pictures of it, and I got like the Pope blessed us.
Was it 79?
Yeah, 79.
Yeah,
at Yankee Stadium. And so we were all taken down, and then we had to go down to the Bowery and all this and that. And my school was taken. Yeah, we were there at Yankee Stadium, 85,000 people, and I was an altar boy for the Pope.
That's awesome.
Hey, you know what? I've done quite a few things. And when I told it, wait a minute, come on.
For the Pope?
The Pope? Yeah, him, that guy, the guy with the hat. Hey, Farzi, have an absolutely fantastic Memorial Day weekend. You make sure you and your family celebrate it together and have yourself a great one. Thank you so much for always finding time for me, brother.
My pleasure. Always great hanging out, brother.
You got it. Thank you, Farzi. You got it. That is our friend Mark Farzetta. We so appreciate him coming aboard with us. Don't forget, he also kicks off our broadcast each and every single day here on JAKIB Sports Monday through Friday. Check out his show. It's absolutely great. I love listening to him talking too, also about Philadelphia sports. That was really awesome. Listening to him talk about how that 2017 Super Bowl and what it meant to the community. I love that stuff. When you're in Los Angeles, you don't think that those guys that are fans, like in Los Angeles, have that same kind of passion and think about that game and know every single second. When the Rams won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, you know what they're thinking about? Weirdos in Santa Monica. They're not thinking about anything else. Okay? We will try to effort our dear friend, Merrill Reese. Hopefully we're able to catch up with him. Let's catch up with our friends at Morgan & Morgan here. Number one injury law firm in America. Guys, if you're ever in a situation where you've been injured or you've been hurt, make sure you check out my friends at Morgan & Morgan. With over 1,000 attorneys, coast to coast, okay? Coast to coast. They are there to defend you and your family as much as possible. And the number one reason why they're number one is because why? They win. Do me a favor. Check out their website at forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. That's FORthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sills sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Hey, chill. Do me a favor, guys. Do me a favor. Please hit that like button. We are efforting our friend Merrill Reese. And on top of that, by the way, I know it's Memorial Day weekend coming up. I know it's the holiday. Merrill will always get a pass here. And got to tell you, programming note as well. Here, just to show you where we are and people that have contacted us here. Listen, I know, Phil Simms is trying to do as much as he possibly can to come on the program. Look at where we are. Look at where we are now. There's Phil Simms. Stevie, thank you, baby. Hold on. I can't get it here. Let me see here. Hey, Sue. Slow what? Slow what? There's no such thing as layups, Sue. What are you talking about? Let's see here. So there's Phil. I know what she talks about sometimes. She just talks shit. No. You relax, sweet britches. Hey, sugar pants, you relax. Let me see here. So there's Phil and Tony Dungy. They're coming on the program. Don't worry. You know one thing Big Cells is? He's relentless. We always get our guy. Okay? We love Sue. Sue's a shit talker. She totally is. She's a shit talker. But she's here every day. So it's all good. But then again, I learned a lesson a long time ago. Sue's probably a 500-pound dude sitting in his britches somewhere down in the basement. And it's not really Sue, it's a dude. And he's got like a guinea tee on. And it's not really a chick. Okay? It's a dude sitting in his basement, and he's 1,700 pounds. He looks like Gorilla Monsoon. Okay? It's not really a chick. You don't really think that's Sue, do you? It's a guy named Stanley. It's not Sue. Okay? It's not Sue. It's Stanley. It's a 500-pound guy in the basement. He's got a guinea tee on. He's got hair. He'll go make some pasta fazool later on. Okay? I mean, my wife cured me of that, Sue, so I'm just assuming that's what that is. I told you, she told me about, like, Facebook and shit. I don't know. You know? All right. Oh, by the way, can we do a prayer? Can you guys pray with me here? Okay. Dear football gods, I have, and I want to thank you. For one thing, Hard Knocks in season, starring Nick Sirianni. The football gods, I cannot ask you enough. Thank you, because I can't wait to see that ass clown on television for the entire season. Holy cow. I'm going to be like a movie critic. I am so thankful that I'm not covering the pathetic Jets. And I've got Nick Sirianni. Holy shit, is this going to be over the top? This is going to be fantastic. I'm going to have my pad and paper. If you hear John McMullen, I'm not watching it. I'm going to be living it. All right, John, leave it to me. I'll give you my insight. Oh, my God. Good week. Look at this guy. Good week of shows. Spectacular week of shows. I don't always agree, but I always am entertained. Jacob is the GOAT. JD3, that's awesome. We so appreciate you there. Again, thank you. Nick Sirianni. Oh, and by the way, did you hear what hey, Big Sil's got a narrative going around now. You understand that? I've started something. 13-5. 3-year contract. Actually, Howard started it first. Howard Eskin started it first. 13-5. Not in your life would they pay that guy $19 million. That would mean that he gets more credit than the owner. Not happening. 13-5. They're paying him Liam Cohn money. You got to love what the Eagles did this week, though. Yeah, we extended Nick. Nick's a great coach. Really love him. What were the terms? Yeah, we're not going to divulge it. You don't need to know. Yeah, no. Gave an extension. It's north of $10 million. So $100 million. North of $10 million. Oh, no, Yale. I am right. Okay? Hey, get this. You would know about sniffing balls. That's for dang sure. This guy's a professional ball sniffer. Absolutely. Oh, okay. This guy right here. All you would know is about sniffing balls. Okay, you think that's all you are there, Twiz. You're sniffing them. Yeah. You know what's that's Twiz's new role. Twiz is a professional ball sniffer. There you go. Congratulations. Twiz, and by the way, Twiz has been brutal this week. Every single day he had L's on his name. and he took L's across the board all week. This guy is on, you know how the Phillies are on a hot win streak? This guy's on a hot losing streak. Okay? He's on a hot losing streak. This guy's a ball sniffer. I don't even know what that means. Hot dogs. By the way, I heard Farzetta say hot dogs. Always remember something about hot dogs. Assholes and lips. That's what my grandpa used to say. Not happening. Not happening, man. My grandpa, I think my grandfather actually liked hot dogs. I don't remember. I know he didn't like mayonnaise. Okay, I know he didn't like mayonnaise. So no, ever. Get this. Sills, relax. Yeah, okay, that looks like me. See, had to rile you up just for a good show. Funny. That's a W. Okay? Hey, that's a W. I do like to get fired up. Hey, especially when I get new content that Nick Sirianni's making less than $14 million a year. That's tremendous content. Okay? I mean, tremendous. 13.5. I got by on just a hair. It's all relative, dude. Come on, Charlie. Charlie's like, well, wow, man, horrible. That's a horrible paycheck. 13.5. Shit. Come on, big sales. I mean, I know we're scraping pennies here. We know we got to pay for the Memorial Day weekend grub. I got it. Nick didn't get 19, guy. He did not get 19. He got 13.5. 13.5. Oh, hey, and by the way, do you know who the preseason Hard Knocks is? It's Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I can't wait to see Josh, best player in the NFL this year on Hard Knocks. That'll look great. How come Sills talks about other quarterbacks getting paid higher than Jalen Hurts, but doesn't talk about those non-accomplished quarterbacks that are overpaid more than Mahomes? Because Mahomes is the most accomplished quarterback in the NFL, and he has a $450 million contract. See, what Senor does is he doesn't tell you the full story. Nobody in the NFL has signed a contract for more than $300 million. This guy has a $500 million contract. Actually, the majority of that $450 million is guaranteed. So when you may not be making annually more than the other guys, he's still making $450 plus million. Jalen Hurts signed a $250 million contract. Patrick Mahomes signed $450 million. He tells you not the full story as usual. Look at the amount and the value of Mahomes' deal. It's like $500 million. $500 million. There ain't nobody being paid more. Maybe annually, but he's going to get all that $450. There's nobody in the NFL that's going to make $450 million off of one deal like Mahomes will. And they'll bump that up, but he gets more on the payout. But he'll tell you, annually he's not making dog. Do you want the money? Would you rather take less during the season so that you could try to sign free agents and yet have $500 million waiting for you and be in one place for your entire career? I'll take that. You're guaranteeing me, whether I'm hurt or not, I get $500 million. But I may not make as much money as Josh Allen or Dak Prescott on an annual basis, but I'm making $500 million. I mean, get this. Look at this. Once again, you can't talk football without money. And here's another L. I haven't even read it. Here's another L for Twizois. Says, do you want a quarterback worried about his numbers? If anything, Jalen Wait, this is actually a good take. Sacrifices for his team. Not many do that. It's actually a great take. Yeah, he does. Same thing with Aikman. Same thing with Brady. Brady sacrificed salary, and he was never, would we not agree that, Brady, he's never the highest paid guy in his entire career when he was in New England. That wasn't important to him. It's actually a pretty good take. Get this. Jalen Hurts is Super Bowl MVP. Josh Allen is Little League MVP. And Lamar, and look at these guys. Dick Train is the worst. Jalen Hurts is Super Bowl MVP. That doesn't guarantee you Canton. 95% of the people that have won the league's most valuable player are recognized as the greatest players in the history of the sport. Nick Foles, Dexter Jackson, Desmond Howard, Joe Flacco. Those guys will never make it to Canton. That doesn't ensure you're the best player in the sport. As I said yesterday, winning a seasonal MVP and playing great for 6 months is more difficult than playing for 60 minutes. But again, it's not really, like I said the other day, it's not a rip. Your team's set up where your quarterback doesn't have to play great every week. Actually, this is true. Jimmy Johnson said this to me, Chris, that if you were going to put Patrick Mahomes on the open market and you were going to try to trade him, okay, you'd probably have to give up 6 first-round draft picks and pay this guy $10 million, or $60 million over 10 years. That sounds right. I don't think you could put a price tag on Mahomes. Mahomes is one of the very few players in the league that you could play anywhere and he's going to help your football team make it to the playoffs. I think he could take the Jets to the playoffs. I think he could take Carolina to the playoffs. I think there's not a team in the league he couldn't take to the playoffs. He's the best. He's more talented than Brady. Now, you have to be determined if he'll have the resume. Okay? Like Brady. Brady, you could make the conversation. He's like the Bill Russell of football. Okay? It won't be ever made official because they don't want to embarrass Nick by telling people that it's 13-5. If he was the second highest paid coach to Andy Reid, that'd be public. That would be public. Hurts should get a little less than Mahomes' contract, if we're being honest. You think Jalen Hurts really is a $60 million a year guy? I don't see that. Maybe for what they're doing. Russell Chamberlain live was the best. I wish I could have seen that on what that was. Mahomes has great coaches around him. Don't discount the coaching. So, well, let me ask you this then. So, Andy Reid, he couldn't develop Donovan McNabb into being Patrick Mahomes. He's pretty much the same guy. Right? He's pretty much the same dude. By the way, folks, I am sure that our friend Merrill Reese is on the golf course. and he's enjoying himself as he's finishing up. I would assume that he's on the golf course. So we're going to give him a pass as we always would. He's such a great friend. We appreciate him very much. We'll get his thoughts next week. And I want to say this before we go. Make sure this weekend you guys get an opportunity to celebrate our great men and women who serve our country. Make sure if you see one, go up, shake their hand, and thank them for serving our country, because there's no other country like it in the planet. I so love being an American. I so love our country. It gives me the opportunity to do this each and every single day. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for all the supers today. I so appreciate it. Please hit the like button. I will see you on Tuesday. We got Memorial Day off on Monday. Get yourself charged again. The Eagles will be on the field Tuesday for OTAs mandatory. Be a big week. Football looks like it's starting up again next week. Have a great weekend. God bless America. Big Z, Joe, thank you so much, and we'll see you on the flip side.